That ain't Eric Bieniemy. That's the, air quotes, best special teams coach in the NFL. So, we'll hear from Eric Bieniemy. We'll play some of those clips from yesterday's press conference. It started right after we were done at 2 o'clock. So we'll hear from him. We will also hear from Matt Lane coming up at 11 o'clock. KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. He was at the Shrine Bowl last week, Shrine Bowl practices and the Shrine Bowl game over the weekend in Frisco, Texas, where it was frigid for them down there. So we'll get his thoughts on what he saw from the Shrine Bowl as they continue to put together the KCSN Draft Guide, which I've said there are 2 resources that I typically go to. More and more are coming into focus with more and more people now that I respect having more of a focus on the draft, that now my studying is split.
I know which 2 you're going to say. Cam Newton's and Stephen A. Smith's.
Yeah. Those are the obvious ones, right? Now I'm thinking about throwing in KC Sports Networks. No, it's The Beast with Dane Brugler and it's KC Sports Network Draft Guide. Those are the 2 that I've used for so long. But as more and more people are getting into the studying and breaking down the draft game, and more people that I respect, there are others that now I throw them into the mix. Instead of it just being so easy and just like, here's Dane Brugler's Beast of overall all of these different players, and here's KCSN's that is Chiefs specific. It was great. But now you got people like stupid Price Carter that's like, oh, hey, I'm really smart too, so you should also pay attention to what I say. What a jerk. We're going to have Price Carter on today at noon from Arrowhead Addict, who does a great job covering and breaking down and scouting and looking at some of these players in the Shrine Bowl and the Senior Bowl and things like that. That comes up at noon. We'll talk with him.
He texted me last night and he goes, writing up Zion Young as we speak just for you.
Nice.
That's what he texted me last night. What time was that?
Very good. First round trash talker. We'll see if he is a
10:40 last night. Dude was grinding.
Okay. Good for him, man. That's awesome. That's why we're having him on. If he wasn't grinding, we wouldn't have him on. If he was just some run-of-the-mill jabroni, no reason to talk to him. But we'll have Price Carter on tonight.
I was grinding too. Dart League.
I could tell. What time did you get home last night? 12:30? 1:15?
Well, the game started at 6. The match. Sorry, I don't think it's a game.
It's darts.
It's not a game.
It's not a game. It's not a game. We're talking about match. Not a game. Not a game. How silly is that, man? We're talking about a match, not a game.
And after we won the first game, I think, damn, we're gonna have us a night, boys.
So stupid.
I had a bad.
Is that what you said? You looked around to everybody after the first match. Damn, we gonna have us a night, boys.
I'm on tonight.
I'm on one tonight.
Throwing some rocks, and then our team name is. I thought this was bowling.
That's why you lost. You were playing darts. You thought it was bowling the whole time.
Choked in 501. That's on me. I own that.
Yeah, as you should. Michael, I can tell by his voice that it was a very quiet night for him. Very laid back, low key, quiet night for Sterling.
Very quiet. He had anything to say last night at all.
It wasn't even a Thursday night. Thursday night's when he goes out.
Well, Thursday night football's done.
All his rowdy friends hang out at a bar on Thursday night.
Well,
now you move to Wednesday night. What is going on here?
Well, who knows? Golden Team might need to make an appearance. We might have to.
Okay.
Things need to happen.
Okay.
I'm not a sitter. Okay, I'm not. Well, the broken ankle's been a bummer.
Yeah.
Try throwing darts with the stump of a foot.
I'm not going to.
I almost had to take the cast off just so I couldn't bend down. It took me forever to try and figure out how to throw.
Is it called throwing darts, or is it a specific name for it?
Toss. I think you're throwing, chucking, hucking.
It seems like you're throwing,
guiding
right?
a dart.
Right?
Chucking, hucking, lucking.
Yeah, I feel like throwing is like you've got the palm of it, and it's a full follow-through as a throw. Like, this is sort of like a...
precision.
Yeah, right? Because when we say, no, you need to toss it like a dart.
Yeah.
We're not saying throw it. Like when I, teach my son or whatever, it's like, hey, right here...
Teach him darts, by the way.
Not going to do that. I don't know. I mean, maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't know. How could I teach him darts when I would need to be taught darts myself?
Okay. He wants his walls to actually be full and not have holes in them.
That's true, too.
Take him to the local pub.
Well, typically on Thursdays, Everett and I go to the local pub that's 10 years old and up. It's 10 and up local pub. He gets a pint.
Non-alcoholic.
It's a Capri Sun pint.
Yeah, not alcoholic.
Can I get a pint of that Capri Sun? Thank you. Fruit punch. Thank you. I'm feeling you know what? I'm not riding my bike today. I didn't ride my bike here today. I'll take, let's get crazy. Let's get some Arctic breeze. Let's do that one. I'm
Hawaiian
feeling good.
Punch.
I'm feeling good. Let me get
Your
that pint of
teeth
Capri
might
Sun.
fall out because of the sugar, but
He's got braces, so I think he's fine. Although they come off in a couple weeks. He's very pumped. Very excited.
Well, long story short was I needed to take my brace off for darts because I'm a serious competitor out there, and
wow. So you really fought through the pain.
This is going to eat at me that we did not win.
Good for you, man.
We went 1-2. It's going to eat at me.
Man, you are such a warrior. You and Terrell Owens fighting through breaks to go and compete at the highest level.
And Greg Jennings.
That's right. And Mahomes. I've always thought of you as the Mahomes of darts. Throwers, tossers, guiders.
Yeah. I was more Chris Oladokin, I think, last night.
That makes sense.
He looks great.
You couldn't even be Gardner Minshew? Like, you couldn't even...
I guess I would be Gardner. I got injured. I got injured, and it wasn't as bad as we all initially feared.
There it is, yes.
We got injured, and it's not quite as bad as initially feared.
You couldn't even rock some Jarrett Stidham. Like, once or twice that whole night, you made, like, beautiful throws. But then other than that, it was kind of rough. Environment sort of messed you up. You had some other things going on that were difficult.
Environment. It was a great environment. I can't now. It was beautiful.
Bet it was. All right, so that's how the show lines up. 1 o'clock, we'll play some sports or leisure. $25 at Johnny's Tavern will be given away in the 1 o'clock hour with the little game we call sports or leisure. I got a fun category today based on Eric Bieniemy. I think it's a fun one, but it only depends on if anybody asks for said category. Although what I could do is I could manipulate the category, Sterling, to make sure that they ask for that if there is only one category.
Yeah.
Then they would have no choice. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to offer a few categories. One of them I really like. Spent some time last night having fun, spending some time going through questions. A lot of time it's monotonous, trying to come up with the questions for sports or leisure. Last night was fun because of this particular category. You'll have to tune in at 1 o'clock to hear that. And if you don't, that's your own fault. 913-912-4810 is the text line. 913-912-4810, the text line. We'll talk about Eric Bieniemy. Vahe wrote in the Kansas City Star today about why he did not vote for Bill Belichick. Came out last night that Vahe was one of those that did not vote for Belichick. I don't know that there is a level that I could probably verbalize in the amount of respect I have for Vahe as a writer, media member, person. So I am the least bit surprised that the first person of at least 11, we don't know how many yet, we know at least 11 people did not vote for Bill Belichick. I am the least bit surprised that the first person we hear describe his thought process in detail as to why it was not a no vote for Belichick. That's the difference here. It's not a no vote. It was a vote for others because they changed the process, which we talked about yesterday, how absurd it was to change the process from what they had done in years past.
Now, Jerome Tang would be right on this regard.
Yeah, they did change the rules.
They changed the rules.
Finally. Yeah, Tyreek Smith would have been a Hall of Famer, apparently, according to Jerome Tang, had he just been cleared to play for a fifth or sixth year, however many years it would have been. I'm not sure. But I am not surprised in the least that Vahe is the first one we've seen go on record and write and explain in detail his thought process. Whether we agree or disagree, no surprise that he would be the one that does that. Also, zero surprise that if he voted no, it had nothing to do with Spygate.
Yeah.
Again, one of the things we talked about yesterday, that I think Bill Polian is Spygate motivated. Hall of Fame put out their release last night that if any Hall of Fame voters break the bylaws, they will be stripped of their Hall of Fame voting status. I think there was a misunderstanding of that by some, not all, but some, in saying, oh, wow, you didn't vote for Belichick, like the Hall of Fame was going to strip. No. The bylaws of, is there collusion going on? Who leaked to Wickersham and Don Van Natta at ESPN about not getting the 11 votes?
Yeah.
Because that wouldn't be one of the voters, because the voters were not notified who's in and who's out yet. They don't know. Even Vahe wrote about that. It's like, we don't know who's in or who's out. So that had to be somebody who knew that was on the other side of the voting. Not those that were actually voting, but part of the Hall of Fame committee. And not the voting committee, whatever you want to call it. So we saw that release yesterday from the Hall of Fame. And I don't think it has anything to do with, well, we'll strip these people of their votes if they didn't vote for the people we think it should be.
Yeah.
Because I saw some people were like, well, then if you're so mad about it, then just put them in. Well, no, they're not talking about that. It's the allegation that there was collusion, that somebody, Bill Polian, was going around trying to convince people to not vote for Bill Belichick based on Spygate, which is incredibly believable because he did the same thing with Terrell Owens, and he did the same thing last year with Jim Tyre. He's done it before.
Yeah.
It is the least bit surprising if he would do it again. So it is hard, Sterling, for him to go, whoa. I know that I've shoplifted many, many times in the past, and I have been caught. And yeah, there are allegations of that I'm the one that was stealing these things, but I didn't do it. I had nothing to do with it. In fact, I actually told everybody to pay for that. Yeah, but you don't really get benefit of the doubt because you've already been caught multiple times.
Yeah.
And you're the name that's coming up when people are saying, so did you shoplift? I 100% paid for that. Now that I think about it, I don't know for sure if I paid for it. I'm 95% sure I paid for that. 95% sure I paid for it. But I don't know 100% if I paid for it or not. And I know that I've been caught shoplifting in the past. But I am 95% sure I paid for that. So this is ridiculous. That's Bill Polian. That, to me, is what the NFL Hall of Fame was putting out a press release about. If you're breaking the bylaws, we can strip the vote.
Yeah, I would agree 100% with that's why the NFL did that. I think Vahe, I disagreed with, again, everyone has their own opinions. I still disagree with who he voted for over Bill Belichick, just because I think Bill is if there ever was a unanimous guy, it felt like it should have been Bill Belichick. But I appreciate what he did. Like, I can disagree, but still appreciate what he did.
Yeah.
Now, what are the other 10 plus? What were their reasonings? Because Vahe, again, I might not 100% agree with it, but at least I understand where he's coming from. It wasn't a bleep him. It wasn't a I don't want him in. It was a I want to vote for other people who maybe this is their last chance of really getting in.
Yep.
And I think that it makes sense to an extent. That's just my personal opinion. Again, I disagree with it still. I still think that, hey, is it a chance that this is the last chance of the ballot? Could it be? Sure. I'm sorry, but that doesn't mean that you should vote for them over Bill Belichick. You shouldn't vote for the 10th best player versus the number 1 best player just because he might fall off the ballot. That's a voting issue.
I'm with you. I think that is absolutely the case. We'll talk about that, agree, disagree, but how it came to be with Vahe. Let's start with Eric Bieniemy and his return to the Kansas City Chiefs. What we heard yesterday from EB, along with third person, which, never go wrong with that. Let's just play clip number 2 here. Eric Bieniemy was asked about the return to Kansas City, and he discussed what drew him back to the Chiefs in the area, but also how difficult it was to leave Chicago, in which he spent a year working with Ben Johnson and Ryan Poles.
I'd like to send a special shout out to Ryan Poles and the head coach Ben Johnson. You talking about great people, a great organization, and it felt like home. And that was the beauty of it. It was real tough making this decision. But, it was an opportunity to come home, and it was like leaving home. But now, if Big Red ever picks up the phone, that's the only person that you'll say, hey, you know what? It may be time to return home because he's given me this opportunity. But more than anything, it was very, very tough after exactly what we just went through. But more than anything, I'm fired up about this opportunity. I'm looking forward to it, and it's time to get back in the saddle.
Andy Reid picked up the phone, and he answered. And now he's the Kansas City Chiefs offensive coordinator. Let's hear from Eric Bieniemy. This is clip number 3 there, Michael. And he describes how the process came together for his return to Kansas City.
To be quite honest, it just happened. We were playing in the playoffs, and unfortunately, we came up short. The next day, I get a phone call. Big Red is calling, and obviously, there was some tough conversations having with the head coach and with our players. But it was great having that opportunity to work in Chicago. Great having that opportunity to work with Coach Ben Johnson, who's a hell of a coach, who's going to have a great deal of success as well. And it was great having that opportunity to working with that organization. But having this opportunity to come back and be put in this chair with Coach Reed, that was just something that it's tough to pass upon, So with all that taking place, I'm excited. I'm fired up. It was one of them deals that happened fast, and I'm looking forward to it. I just drove in yesterday. I waited out the storm, so I'm here. Now I'm, going off a few hours of sleep, but more than anything, I'm just excited and fired up about the opportunity. I feel like a kid in a candy store.
By the way, I can't be the only one that heard that and went, this man drove from Chicago to Kansas City?
Couldn't have got him a plane ticket?
You put him on
That's an 8-hour drive tops. It's not a
know,
bad
you
drive.
put him on a plane, though.
8 hours or less, I drive. That's my cutoff.
That's not true.
You're not Eric Bieniemy.
What do you mean that's not true?
I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
What do you mean?
I don't believe you. I don't believe that if it's 8 hours or less every time you drive, no matter what.
Pretty much, yes.
Okay, well, pretty much is different.
Okay, yes, it is. Denver, that's 10 sometimes drive. Chicago, drive. Louisville, drive.
If there was a direct flight to Louisville, though, and it was like $100,
we'd consider it.
Damn well you're jumping on that plane, man.
But there's not direct.
There is no as the crow flies to get there, man. That's for sure.
But Eric Bieniemy's laugh just gets me every time. I don't know. It's such a fun laugh. I'm glad he's back for that reason and that reason. Like, if there for any reason, EB's laugh.
Okay.
Can he fix the run game? I don't know, but his laugh's back, and that's at least fun to listen to.
Well, most people said that his coaching style, that's what the players really responded to, was the laugh.
It was the laugh, the jovial nature of EB.
The bowl full of jelly. I'll say this. So anyway, the man drove in, and it all just came together. Also, in hearing that, it's like, okay, so the Bears lose. They call Eric Bieniemy, Big Red calls. As he said, you pick up the phone. Really does make you think who they talk to, or if they talk to anybody else besides Eric Bieniemy.
They would have had to talk to one more person for the Rooney Rule, right? There has to be two,
guess,
I think.
I would guess. Maybe Todd Pinkston before they fired him. Todd, you're either going to be the OC or you're fired. You're fired. First place, Cadillac Eldorado. Second place, set of steak knives. Third place, you're fired. Right? So sorry about that, Pinkston. Thank you, EB. It just came together. Came together pretty quickly. We got some thoughts that we'll continue to get into on this. Let's take a time out. We'll talk about what Eric Bieniemy talked about with new ideas. It's one of the things I want to get into. It's because that's part of it. I don't think you bring Eric Bieniemy back just to yell at players. Okay? You're not bringing him back just to go through a boot camp.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, let's really get these guys into shape. These guys are professional athletes. Well, you know what? It might be even tougher now than it has been before because they're coming in off NIL deals. I mean, they're not getting money for the first time in their life. And it's like, well, now you got to go out and prove and earn it to maintain that job. Like in Major League Baseball, it's like number one priority, get into an organization. Number two, make it to the pros. Number three, stay in the pros. Number four, win. Like, it's a while before you get to, I'm going to do everything I can to win. And when you already got the money and you're heading into the NFL, it may be even a little bit longer before you get to, I'm going to do everything I can to win. Now, maybe some people might be motivated as in, like, I'm already financially sound.
Sure.
So now I can focus on that part of what do I do to make the team better, because that's how I stay in the NFL. Who knows? Everybody's driven differently. But they didn't bring Eric Bieniemy back just to scream and yell in practice and scream finish constantly while they're running down the field in training camp. That's not why they brought him back. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll talk about what those new ideas may be. We will get into a conversation around Vahe's reasoning with Bill Belichick. We'll talk about Sean Payton and Bo Nix. I think it's the first time a current player, a player on a current team under contract, called his own press conference to refute information put out 2 days before by his head coach. That's what's going on in Denver. Bo Nix had a press conference yesterday, and it was not the Zoom press conference like Eric Bieniemy. We'll go next to Pete Sweeney. We go next to Todd Lebo, Sports Radio 810. No, it was Bo Nix that opened up. Guys, thank you so much. I appreciate everybody being on here. I would have liked to talk earlier, but, the injury. So, just wanted to get here and give you guys a chance to ask some questions and talk. So with that, just, take it away, whoever wants to ask the questions. Like, Bo Nix ran his own press conference yesterday, specifically because of what Sean Payton said. Oh, boy. We'll talk about some of that as the show rolls along as well. More Zone next. All right, folks, if you're out there, I've talked about low testosterone before. It is going on a couple of years now that I have been on low testosterone with Heartland Men's Health, and it has been a huge difference. And I wish, I wish I could have gone back and actually just done this like 10 years ago and said, what? I've been wondering about what my testosterone level is. Let me actually go out and figure out what it is. And I can do that by going to Heartland Men's Health. But instead, I waited around, and procrastinated. 2 years ago, said, let's get this thing figured out. Went to Heartland Men's Health, played the fun game of trying to figure out what the testosterone level was, lower than what I thought it was, and some of those symptoms that I had been feeling, the energy level, certainly part of it. Brain fog was something I didn't even know what it was until it was described, and I'm like, yep, that's been going on. Those naps in the afternoon that I have to take once I get off the air before the kids get home so I can actually have the energy to go and hang out and play and do some of those things. Practice at night. All of those things are much easier now. But Heartland Men's Health has been doing many other things in helping out men. Heartland Men's Health, they're going further with what they have, the 4 targeted body composition plans. It's featuring GH peptides, NAD+, GLP-1, PDA, and more. These things are all designed to boost energy, support metabolism, enhance recovery, and accelerate fat loss. So it could be low T treatments. It could be a number of different things as to how holistically Heartland Men's Health is finding the cutting-edge technology and new ways of helping men get to feeling your best self like you did when you were in your teens, 20s, early 30s, whatever that is. Simply schedule a consult with Heartland Men's Health today. They'll do your lab work, have your results within 30 minutes. A licensed medical provider review your results with you, discuss your options, help you make the decision together with the medical team. Now, that cost of the appointment, it's $99, but that includes the medical consult, testosterone, and the PSA test that we talk about all the time. And if you sign up for testosterone treatment the day of your appointment, you don't pay a dime. Visit, it's free. You could be back to higher energy levels, better gains in the gym, sleeping better, waking up feeling more refreshed. It's one thing to get 8 hours of sleep, but were they good 8 hours of sleep? No more brain fog. Production at work may increase. All of those things could be related to low testosterone. Heartland Men's Health, successfully treating men in the Kansas City area. 3 locations to serve you: Overland Park, Independence, between Blue Springs and Lee Summit, and North Kansas City. Call them today at 844-447-6600. Tell them you heard about it right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, 844-447-6600, or visit heartlandmenshealth.com.
Featured therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcia, hanging out with us. We're heading up until 2 o'clock. Matt Lane joins us at 11 o'clock, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. You know, saying Michael Darcia, we're a couple of weeks away from pitchers and catchers.
Dude, I can't wait. I can't wait.
Usually, it hits us so quick because for 5 of the last 6 years, we've been getting ready to go to the Super Bowl to talk about the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Then the game is over. Then the week about what happened. Then pitchers and catchers are in Surprise, Arizona. It's like, it's such an easy transition. And I'll be damned if the Chiefs didn't screw us all this year. I mean, it's all the Chiefs' fault. Although it does allow us to take a little time and appreciate what could be the case Saturday, 3:30 on ESPN at Allen Fieldhouse.
Yeah.
With DP and AJD.
Yeah, I know. You're making sure that there wasn't going to be a...
I didn't know, but
initials,
Peterson and Devanza.
the worst is when you start doing the initials and you're like, oh, that spelled out something bad.
Yeah.
You're like, nope, that's not what I wanted.
Yeah, probably.
I think you're talking about the 2:30 game on Saturday. The big one.
Oh, yeah, Mizzou, Mississippi State.
Yeah,
yes.
that one's huge.
Mark Mitchell versus I don't know who the best Mississippi State player is, although they got a win last night.
The cowbell.
There it is. Yeah, they got a win last night. I don't even know who they beat. Did they beat Georgia on the road? They might have annoyingly beat Georgia on the road. I think that might have been the case.
At LSU.
At LSU. Okay. And did Georgia lose last night?
A lot of questions.
Or did Georgia go to South Carolina and win by a lot? South Carolina got beat down, and Mississippi State won on the road.
Georgia lost by 1 to Tennessee.
That's what it was. That's what it was. Who dominated South Carolina?
These are a lot of questions that are being asked.
Don't you have all of them right in front of you with the SEC scores? Like,
I'm clicking each one individually
why are
and
you
going to the
clicking
school.
each one
Because
individually?
I'm
Don't you just
dumb.
have like?
Oh my gosh!
I'm dumb.
Florida beat them by 47.
Yeah, I knew they got beat down by somebody, and that's just Mizzou.
At home. Oh man.
Yeah, Mizzou should go 2-0 the next 2 games because they've got Mississippi State at home and then they go to South Carolina, so they should be 2-0 the next 2 games. But we get to appreciate Saturday, 3:30 ESPN at Allen Fieldhouse. Darren Peterson, who we know is 100% going to play.
We hope.
Stop. He's good. Thank you, EB. He's Darren Peterson. He will play with one leg in this one. Are you kidding me? There will be 0 chance Darren Peterson is held out from this game. If he's got to go out there with a boot like you're wearing, Sterling, he will be out there and playing in this game.
Well, that's one thing we know about him is he's going to go out and fight through stuff.
If it's every single team having an NBA scout there and it's Devanza versus Darren Peterson and maybe, whoever's going to be the number 1 pick and you're playing at home, college game days there, you think Darren Peterson's going to go, no, I'm good. I'm okay for this one. Come on.
Give me the rock. I'm scoring 35. I see him going out there and just like, hey, Melvin Council, give me the ball.
I really want to know what's going to be the case with Melvin Council being on the ball and Darren Peterson being off the ball more. Now that you've got this matchup, and it isn't necessarily the matchup 1v1 right against each other, but I really wonder how Darren is going to handle that on Saturday, returning from a couple of games, Allen Fieldhouse, college game day, all of that. Students camping out since, January 5th. Like, they've been out there a while in this cold. All right? You stay out there this long in this cold, you deserve, nice seats. You'll get that.
All I know is we saw him
sit.
against Baylor, and I thought that was just the most efficient Darren Peterson had looked.
Mm-hmm.
That was early in that game against Baylor, and he just took over. I'd expect to see the same thing against
Oh, yeah, I think he's going to be
AJ as well, where you
100%.
You're right. I think you're right, Darcy, where he's almost trying to prove a point of,
Yes.
I'm the guy. Give me the ball.
That's why there's 0 chance he's going to miss this game.
It almost makes you wonder if the player that has the better game goes number 1. I know that's a crazy thing to say, but
I think that in their mind they may.
I think in their mind,
Peterson might be doing that, but every single team that'll be represented with a scout that's there, I don't think is going to look at it and go, okay, who wins this game? Because you might have some supporting cast around you.
I think it really comes down to, and you were gone Tuesday, right? Was it the day you were gone?
Tuesday.
So we talked to Myron.
Yep, I was out for Myron.
And so we talked a little bit about that. I said I'm more team Darren Peterson first overall. he said he's probably leaning AJ. He thinks Darren's the most ready prospect, NBA ready between the two, but that AJ might have a higher ceiling just because of the height and the length and all of that. But this is a really good, deep draft class for rookies. I mean, this is not...
Keaton Wagler is going to be a lottery pick. The guy was overlooked around the city, man.
You have Boozer as well. I mean, there's a lot of guys.
By the way, K-State fans, this is I am not trying to do salt in the wound here.
No, man, what are you going to do?
But the man who came to Kansas City and recognized Keaton Wagler and got him to Illinois is a man that would have recognized him if he was coaching in Manhattan. And Brad Underwood.
Oh, yeah.
Is the guy that came to Kansas City when K-State, KU, and Mizzou were like, yeah, we're recruiting his teammates, but not him. And he's like, why aren't you guys recruiting this guy? Seems like a pretty good player. Oh, we're going to bring him in. I'm pretty sure if he does that at Illinois, he'd have done that at Kansas State. But neither here nor is it there. They got Colin Klein. So not missing out on that one. Let's hear from Eric Bieniemy. Patrick Mahomes said, accountability, having trust in each other, and new ideas in what he wanted to see in an offensive coordinator. So Eric Bieniemy was asked specifically, Patrick Mahomes said he wants new ideas brought to the table every day with whoever the new offensive coordinator is. Eric Bieniemy, what does that mean, and how do you bring new ideas to the table in your second time with the Chiefs?
It's always good because I've had an opportunity to learn a few things and obviously open up my mind just to how to view things from a different point of view. And it's great. But on top of that, we got to make sure that we're getting down to what is best for us when it's all said and done with. So, yes, anybody can present an idea. But more importantly, we need to make sure, first and foremost, that we're taking a look at anything that we need to continue to improve upon or continue working with, and making sure that we're getting all the answers first with that, and then just figure out what do we need to go from there. But it's day one. We'll figure all that out at some point in time. But I will say this, I'm fired up and excited just to have this opportunity to be in the building and just having these discussions.
Have to figure out, his words, have to figure out what we do best, then go from there.
Yeah.
The difference and where I find it to be a different opinion than those that feel like this is just Andy Reid doing the Andy Reid thing and he's hiring somebody that he's comfortable with and it's going to be the same old, and Andy Reid is now the issue with this organization and the Chiefs are never going to win again with Andy Reid as head coach. Okay, so I have a different opinion than that. Eric Bieniemy, for the first time being around Andy Reid and the Chiefs, will be able to offer an outside perspective of what he saw from them without saying, well, you're right, Andy, I was the one that did put that game plan together.
Yeah.
Because if you're going through the scout and the game plan and this is what you thought was going to work and this is what we do best, and then you sit at the end of the season and go, well, we really don't do that well. Oh, really? Because that was the thing that you said we should be doing more often than not. These were your game plans. This was your install. You're the running game coordinator, Andy Heck. Joe Blameyer, you're the passing game coordinator. Now you're saying we don't do this. Eric Bieniemy, unlike maybe what Matt Nagy may have done it. I don't know. But I think Eric Bieniemy is more suited to come in and say, okay, so why were you guys doing this? Okay, so what was missing here? Because I'll say this, Big Red. I probably would have gone this way. Or we can do this, or we can do this different. This is what we should be doing. Let's figure out how we do that well. And we can move on to some other things.
I can't wait for him to just come in. He probably won't do this and to be like, so what did you guys think about the Chiefs from the from the outside? Like, what did the Chicago Bears think about us? We thought y'all were soft. We thought you guys were brutal. Just try and he's going to do this to the players, right? To try and get a rise out of them. Just try to break them down to build them back up. There's the accountability. Juwan Taylor, So, well, he's not going to be here, I guess, so that won't matter.
Yeah, there won't need to be a Juwan Taylor.
There won't be a Juwan Taylor conversation. You're right, yeah.
Maybe there is now in the building. If Juwan Taylor's around, he's probably on vacation. Maybe he's not still on vacation. They could have been on vacation since,
I bet
December.
that locker's probably cleaned out by now.
I mean, I would guess it is anyway, but it's probably not going to be refilled if it is cleaned out in just an end of season cleaning out. So there may not need to be. Maybe Brett Veach is like, you don't need to worry about Juwan Taylor. Talk with Jalen Moore and Esapole. Those are going to be the right tackles moving forward.
Real quick with the new ideas, and that was kind of the main talking point of that conversation there. I saw some people on Twitter who were maybe not as enthused by EB's presser because he didn't give specifics.
Mm-hmm.
When do they ever give specifics? It's not like he's going to go, here's exactly what I'm doing, here's the game plan, we're running this, we're more duo, more like, he's not going to do that. One, he just got here. He doesn't even know who's the
right. I'd say just got here last night, been here a couple of hours, excited to get to work.
And also, he doesn't know who the running backs are going to be. Like, you have to know all of these things. He's going to sit down with Andy and figure out what scheme and what are some of the changes. So when I saw the new ideas and people a little upset by, well, where are the specifics? It's coach speak. He's not giving you the specifics. He's going to give you the overarching thoughts, the premise. He's not going to dive down. Is he making a game plan on January 28th?
I think he should. If he wants the job, he should.
And so that's the pushback I had to some people who were a little maybe despondent about the lack of detail.
Here's what we're going to do. Here's the new scheme we're going to introduce.
Here's preseason game 1 against the Jags. This is what we're going to do.
But also, like, as he said, he just got in, and so just now in the building. And so I don't know that there are many specific details that you're going to bring. I remember in a previous stop, it was hosting a regional final. And so we sent one of our guys that produced some shows to go to the press conferences of the 4 coaches and specifically ask them that day as they all got in, what do you think of the city that you've been here? Just because we get annoyed when people ask that. So we specifically had them ask that. So the coach was like, well, we just got in. So, we took the bus over here. That's really because so many people are like, oh my gosh, we're hosting this. What do you think of our city? So,
but how was the bus ride?
We did it as a joke, knowing that I think like Miami or something was one of them. Like, what do you think of Louisville so far? I mean, we just got off the plane and got here, so I mean, the drive over seemed nice.
But how was the tarmac? Was it a nice tarmac? Or
it's like, Eric, what are you going to do now? What are the specifics as what you will introduce in new ideas? Patrick Mahomes said, bring new ideas every day. This is a day that you were at the office. What's the new idea you brought today? Specifically, new idea. Go. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
I have until the end of the day.
That's a good point. He said new ideas every day. He didn't say show up with new ideas. He said bring new ideas every day. Now, does that literally mean bring them like in a briefcase, or bring new ideas to the table every day whenever we get to that table?
I feel like he would have fun Post-it notes that he writes on, just like colorful ones that he writes them on.
You think his office?
Here's the new
filled with
idea.
Tons of Post-it notes everywhere.
What if the new idea is not even football related? It's just like it's like a vacuum.
So
that those vacuums, but you put it outside for the snow and it does your driveway.
So
okay, that's a good idea.
Hold on. What if we put?
What are those things called?
Can we put a lid on the other side of a
Roomba, but Roomba for snow. A Snoomba.
A Snoomba.
TM trademark. I trademarked it.
Eric, we need new ideas. Any new idea today? I was thinking about this, Patrick, and at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, what if we put a lid on the other side of the peanut butter jar too? So we don't have to reach all the way down there and get the peanut butter on our fingers. I'm just saying.
Good idea. That'd be a good.
That is a hell of an idea.
We need ideas, but they don't have to be all football.
Hell of an idea.
As long as you share them with the class.
Because when it's all said and done, you don't get that peanut butter on your fingers. You know what I mean? All right, enough of that. We'll take a time out. We'll come back. More Zone next.
The peanut butter idea is a good idea. Thanks. But football on FanDuel is a great idea, and it is the last call. one final Sunday, one last kickoff, the final chance to place your bets before the NFL season closes its tab. This is Super Bowl 60, and FanDuel is making sure that you are in on it. If you are a new customer, bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win. So whether you're backing the favorite, a.k.a. the Seahawks, or riding with the underdog, the Patriots, or you can build one same-game parlay one last time. Make it count, because after the Super Bowl, the season's over and football is officially done. So, last call for football on FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60. Again, this is Thursday now. I think I'm still leaning Seattle on this one, but I'm trying to talk myself into how the Patriots could find a way to get it done. So, visit FanDuel.com/local and get started.
21 plus and present in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com.
Welcome back to the Zone at Sports Radio 810 at WHB. Matty Lane at KC Sports Network coming up in the next segment. Bryce Carter, Arrowhead Addict, joins at noon. Sports or Leisure in the one. I am excited with Price. Again, that text last night, grinding. Got Zion Young coming your way.
Can you imagine doing 100 prospects in 100 days?
No.
I mean,
no, I cannot
that's
imagine
seventh
it.
of the draft.
That is...
No, it's not. That's half
more.
the draft.
That's
Why do you think there were 700 picks in the draft?
That was a dumb call. Yeah, if you think there's 700 Darcy, I can't help you there. There's about 220-ish.
No, that's wrong too.
7 times 32, and then you also have the compensatory picks.
I was thinking of the comp picks.
Yeah. See, I know, Paul. I know math.
Ridiculous that he's
math.
doing half of it though.
No, it's incredible. It's incredible. What is interesting about the Bill Belichick thing, I'm trying to get this back so I can play it for you guys. I had a chance to talk with Rob Gronkowski yesterday, and I asked him his thoughts. It just broke, and it was perfect timing, and I was trying to ask Gronk, what are your thoughts on Belichick not being a first ballot Hall of Famer? and it was Carissa Thompson, Gronk, and myself, and they were both same thought process as myself, which is it's asinine, it's absurd, it's ridiculous. The fact that he's not makes no sense whatsoever. And again, I appreciate Vahe Gregorian coming out and at least giving his reasoning for it, even if I disagree. But that's at least 10 more writers and voters that I want to hear from. And I don't like the argument of, well, if I put it out, then does it really matter if you know my vote or not? It's supposed to be behind the scenes. No, this is a very, very important position. This is an honor. You should not have to hide behind your votes. Stand up for what you believe in and put it out there.
Yeah, if you believe in that person was or was not a Hall of Famer, then what's the reasoning behind it? And if you believe that strongly about it, you would have no problem explaining that
defending reasoning. Defending it means it's wrong, but either way.
I mean, it could be defending if somebody's attacking you and telling you you're wrong. You can defend your stance, give your reasons behind said opinion for that to be the case.
And there's only a few amount of voters. It's a great gig. And by the way, how many people would love to have that opportunity? So I feel like you should always, I love when baseball writers put it out and they give their thoughts.
Yeah.
Again, I might disagree, but I respect someone who at least puts their thoughts and their reasoning behind it.
So my big issue with this, and we can talk more in depth about it, but my big issue with this is they changed the rules. Jerome Tang was mad about it, but they changed the rules.
This is what Jerome was mad about.
Exactly right. It was Bill Belichick. We knew it. He was just ahead of the game. In years past, it was here are the 3 senior finalists. Here's the coach contributor. Now all of that has changed as well because now the coaches contributors are going up against senior players. And we have seen in the past the players have won out.
Yeah.
This one seemed to be obvious. They also changed the waiting period from 5 years to 1 year. I could even understand if somebody said, well, the reason I didn't vote for Bill Belichick a Hall of Fame, because he's trying to get back in the NFL and keep coaching. So if this had been the 5-year waiting period like we have always had before last year when they changed it to 1 year, if this had been the 5-year, we wouldn't be having this discussion right now. But I think he's trying to get back in the NFL and coach. He may be hired this year as a coach. There's still job openings.
Do you
Who
believe
knows?
that?
No, of course not. I don't believe that. But that could be a reason. But they changed that from 5 years to 1 year. And they changed it from a simple yes, no for every single person. If this was the voting a year ago, Bill Belichick would be in. Because it wasn't, you can only vote for 3. It was everybody individually. Here's Bill Belichick, Hall of Famer, yes or no? Yes. Move it aside.
It's Bill Gate. Not Bill Gates.
Yes.
It's not Spygate. It's Bill Gate.
It's Wiki Chicks.
Matt Lane of KCSN is brought to you by Dick Ray Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Are you planning to spend money on a new AC or furnace repair this year? Dick Ray can help. Show us a 2025 HVAC repair invoice from any company, and we'll credit that amount towards a new system up to $2,500. Call 913-DICK-RAY or go to dickray.com for details.
All right, hanging out here on this Thursday edition of The Zone, right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Let's talk some Kansas City Chiefs football, some NFL football, maybe a little Shrine Bowl football as well. Joining us now, it is Matt Lane, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast here in The Zone. Matt, what's good, brother? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. It's a little chilly right now out here for the Carolinas, but you know what? We're making it, and we're preparing for another snowstorm. Apparently, we're getting 2 in 2 weeks, which is kind of wild.
That is crazy for you guys. So you were supposed to get some warmth when you went to the Shrine Bowl, right? You were supposed to get some reprieve from all that.
Oh yeah, no, that didn't happen. It ended up being worse down there in Texas than it got back here. So I am glad I didn't really have any significant travel delays, and that Eric Galco down there at the East West Shrine was able to keep everything running nice and smooth. So we still had a really good time despite some funny weather.
Yeah, no doubt. What do you like to check out when you're down there at the Shrine Bowl? Are you watching? I always wonder when people go and cover it. Are you watching specifically for a player or players? Do you guys break it up between position groups? Is like, Kent, you got this. Maddie, you're going to be doing this over there. BJ's going to be handling this particular part of it. Like, how do you guys break it up, and what do you look for when you're at the Shrine Bowl and watching these practices?
Yeah, it's, I guess, a little bit different for every single person, right? We don't really break anything up, but everybody has different stuff that they just kind of gravitate towards. Mm-hmm. So for me, I have like an exercise science background, so I love to go and watch when guys start stretching and warming up and just see how guys move and how their bodies are built. I'm one of those odd guys out there that's like, hey, let's go do the Andy Reid thing and see how this guy's weight's distributed and if he has enough in the caboose or not. But then after that, the first day or two, it's just watching and see kind of who pops, who jumps out and looks better than everybody else. And then as the week goes on, because you get 4 practices down there, I really try to focus on guys that develop or get better as it goes on. They seem to be getting it. It's a weird situation for players too, right? And so I want to see the guys that in practice 1 don't look the same as practice 4. I want to see who's gotten better. To me, that showcases they understand the game a little bit. They know they're picking up the information that's being presented to them in film rooms. Like it's a multi-practice thing for me.
Visiting with Matt Lane, KC Sports Network and KC Laboratory Podcast. Anybody that you like? Did you come away from that with any of Matt's guys that might show up in the in the draft guide for KC Sports Network, or are you starting to sort of fall for anybody there that you see yourself being talked more and more into liking this guy?
Yeah, there's a couple guys that kind of stood out for me early on, and he only got to play practice for 1 day, but Skylar Bell, the wide receiver out of Connecticut, he came in with, I think, like the highest pedigree of all the wide receivers there, and he didn't disappoint from when we got to sit down and interview him, and just like how you could tell he understood football. He talked in the language of football, even to us in the media, and then kind of realized, I might need to explain this if he did or didn't. But it's like guys that get it that way are fun. And then that first day of practice, he looked better than the other wide receivers. He just moved a little different. So, like, that popped out. And then Darrell Jackson, a defensive tackle from Florida State, who had previously been at Maryland, massive human being, like 98 percentile height, weight, arm length, hand size across all defensive tackles in, like, combine history. And he's just a massive human, very difficult to move. And when you do one-on-one drills, kind of hard to stop a guy that size from running you over. So those are the 2 guys I think that popped the most for me while we were down there.
Visiting with Matt Lane, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast here in the Zone. You put out, this is apropos of nothing that I was really going to talk to you about today, but you put out a mock draft yesterday, and these are always fun. Like, those mock draft simulators are badass, man. I can waste so many hours, let's be honest, on the mock draft simulator of doing different emphasis and needs and best player and all of those things. But you drafted Jeremiah Love at number 9, and we've seen a couple of mock drafts that have recently come out that have the Chiefs taking Jeremiah Love at number 9. I am not vehemently against it. I'm not necessarily for it, but I do wonder, Matt, with Eric Bieniemy in the fold as someone that may have more of an emphasis on the running game, in your mind, does it make it more likely that with Eric Bieniemy as the OC that they could look running back like a Jeremiah Love to really revamp that entire running game if that's going to be a major focus this offseason?
Yeah, first of all, the mock draft simulators, I know some people hate seeing mock drafts, and I don't. If that's your case, that's fine. You don't got to look at them, but this is why I do them. We can talk. We now have a conversation to have about it as we go through 3 months plus of no football. That's why I like them. For Jeremiah Smith, so this is what happened actually down in Dallas, is we got snowed in a little bit, so we were stuck in an Airbnb for a while, and so we're just watching a lot of film. And since I'm with some people that hadn't been as deep in the draft process yet, we're watching guys from the very top of the board down to, like 100-ish. And I got back to Jeremiah Love and just watching him. He's just really good. He's just the best player in the draft. I get it, running back, but he's the best player in the draft. And so something else that I did was watch a lot of the Chicago Bears and Ben Johnson's run game from last year. Because, again, I'm kind of a football nerd. I'm snowed in. I might as well watch a bunch of breakdowns and chart out some of these run plays.
Might as well.
And something stuck out to me, the running game for the Bears is very good, but they have running backs that were capable of doing a lot of different stuff. They had guys that could play on time. They could hit all these different cuts. They were able to see what was happening within the offensive line, and I just don't think the Chiefs have that. So the most direct line, if we think Eric Bieniemy is coming in and going to bring in some of that from Chicago, you're going to need a running back that can run all of this different stuff and run it well, and no better place than the best player in the draft, who Bieniemy and Andy Reid could probably talk to his ex-running back coach and Dylan McCullough, who was at Notre Dame last year or 2 years ago, and get an idea about him. So it just made a lot of sense.
Yeah, and honestly, those are the things that, whether we like it or not, those are the things that you got to look at and connect the dots. I remember, and it's something that changed my view on mock drafts a little bit. I remember in the 2020 draft that leading into it, there were a lot of people that had the Chiefs taking running back. There was wide receiver, there was offensive line, there was defensive line. There were a number of different positions, but I was keeping track of all of the different mock drafts, 30, 35, 40 of them that are out there at all the different media sites. And there was a decent amount of people that had them taking a running back. A lot of it was DeAndre Swift. Or, was it DeAndre Swift in 2020 that came out with Clyde Edwards-Helaire? And
Jonathan Taylor was the big one.
Well, Jonathan Taylor was the big one, and then, there was another one. I think it might have been it was the Georgia kid. Anyway, doesn't matter. But it was a running back that was there, but it wasn't Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And as I'm going through that, I'm keeping track of it, but not really paying much attention to it because I'm the Chiefs aren't going to take a running back in the first round. They just won a Super Bowl with, Damian. They're not going to do that. Damian Williams was a guy that was really good, and they found him as a third down back. So they're not going to need to take a first-round running back. And then they do. And they took Clyde Edwards-Helaire. It wasn't the name that a lot of people had, but it made me pay a little bit more attention, Matt, because what those people were hearing or connecting the dots was the Chiefs are looking or could look running back at the end of the first round if they can't get out of the first round, which would be Brett Veach's preference if a couple of players that they would like to be on the board aren't there. They just didn't connect it to Clyde. So from that point forward, I'm okay, I will pay a little bit more attention to position, not necessarily player. This is, at number 9, it's position and player because it's the only player at that particular position. So if I see more and more of the main mock draft people out there as it gets closer and closer, if I see that, I will pay more attention to it if it's Jeremiah Love there at number 9, because it seemed way too easy that Xavier Worthy was going to be taken by the Chiefs. Oh, and Josh Simmons, if he's there, the Chiefs are going to take him. This seems too easy. And yet we've seen the last couple of times the really easy one is who the Chiefs took. So maybe there are some people with some inside information that are doing some mock drafts that are coming up with some things that might be closer to reality than we want to believe.
Yeah, and I remember that Clyde draft leading up to it. I forget where everything has come from, but it's kind of, it's been a while now, so I don't remember where the scuttlebutt was coming from, but there was a sense going around like, hey, the Chiefs did have success without a highly priced running back, but it takes a little bit of work for them. Like, having limited running backs means you have to have rotational players. You have to cycle guys in for certain play packages because they don't make sense in others. And it was getting not tiresome, but more difficult than the time they wanted to spend. So the idea was, we're going to draft a guy that can do everything at running back. That was just a line of thinking. That's nothing to do with the player. That was just a line of thinking that I do remember hearing on why the Chiefs would go that route. Haven't heard anything similar to that this year, but what we have heard is Andy Reid get up there on a couple different press conferences and say the run game was bad and part of the issue they had this year. And he has very specifically emphasized the run game was an issue. So if we're going to take him at face value, which is a dangerous game with Andy Reid press conferences, but taking that at face value, if you're looking at a guy like Love, that talented at pick 9, it might kind of fall in the same realm as that. Is we're tired of having to deal with limited talent at the running back spot. Let's just draft this guy that we think we can plug in and leave alone, and he's going to do it all, and now we can focus our energy elsewhere.
It was DeAndre Swift. So Swift ended up going a few picks after Clyde. He was the third pick of the second round. So it was Clyde, T. Higgins, Michael Pittman Jr., and then DeAndre Swift.
There's a guy that's running real well for the Bears, and Eric Bieniemy and Ben Johnson right now. Let me tell you what.
Exactly, yeah. And so that was the name that was connected. Anybody that had running back, it seemed like it was DeAndre Swift. There weren't many Jonathan Taylors that were there, which is odd looking back now because, Jonathan Taylor being as good
never ran out of shotgun. Couldn't trust him for a shotgun offense in the NFL. Was the rumor.
And he's probably not going to make it past his rookie contract because of all the tread that was off his tire at Wisconsin. So there's going to be a lot of injuries that will affect him there. And we know if there's one thing for sure is that Clyde Edwards-Helaire will not be injured because he didn't run that much at LSU. That's for sure. Matt Lane is our guest. For whatever reason, I was getting Swift and Sony Michel mixed up, Georgia backs. And I'm like, I don't think it was Sony. It had to be Swift, but I just started doubting myself, Matt Lane is our guest. Chiefs offense, you tweeted about this, and it's something that I had talked about as the season went along. And it felt like it was like, okay, you're just hating for the sake of hating. When I was getting into a conversation, whether on the air or on Twitter, about the update to the scheme and what seems to be stale, and it was the pushback of, dude, they've got a top 10 offense. Look what they're doing in EPA. Look what they're doing in yards. Look what the Chiefs are doing in overall this year compared to other offenses. How can you say the scheme is the issue? You tweeted about it, and I don't think it was to say, see, look, it's all smoke and mirrors. But I do wonder, Matt, how much of the Chiefs' offense being top 10 that Andy continues to point to and say, look, we had a top 10 offense. Matt Nagy's a gem. It's all because of him. How much of the Chiefs' offense this year in the rankings that are being talked about and used to sort of pump up what the offense was this year, how much was it smoke and mirrors? How much was it opponent-driven? And how much is that maybe in your mind every year is a good percentage of opponent-driven offenses that are really good?
Yeah, let's start at the top there. It's not reinventing the wheel. Offenses are going to perform better against bad defenses than they do good defenses. We can all probably agree with that statement. So when I tweeted that out, that was one of the first things that somebody says, well, hey, that's probably true for everyone. Yeah, I agree, but that's a pretty wide margin. If you just look at how different the Chiefs offense against bad defenses that finished bottom half of the league in EPA per play, their EPA per play in those games would have been best in the NFL if you could carry that out for an entire season. Conversely, against good defenses, they were about 20th in the NFL. So there's a big disparity between how they did against bad defenses and how they did against good defenses. And I'm sure that is true for every team, but just a quick glance back through the past 2-3 years, it's gotten worse. In 2022, they maintained pretty much a top 10 offense regardless of who they played.
Yep.
In 2023, it was a little bit a wider margin, but it was still, I think, top 12. Last year, it started to slip, and then this year, the gap was first to 20th. And I think that's the trend that we're seeing with the offense. When we say that it's not as good as it can be or that we want changes, it's not that the offense is terrible and that it can't function. It's just, in terms of trying to win games in the playoffs or beat good defenses, a lot of it falls on Patrick Mahomes to make it right, which he can do, but it's clearly slipping the wrong direction. I think it shows up in those big matchups more so than when they play the Raiders or the Washington Commanders. They have those games just fine because Mahomes, Kelsey, Andy Rice, all those guys are good enough to do it without the extra scheme help.
You mentioned, too, in one of the tweets that the top 5 offense for the Chiefs in their talk, almost all the really good offensive output games were on teams that played high percentage of single high coverage. The 2 high defenses seem to present a big issue, as you tweeted there. How many years do you think we'll say that about this Chiefs team before they figure out this crazy defense of 2 high, of split safeties and shell coverage? I feel like this is a running theme, is like the Chiefs can't seem to figure out when teams run these 2 high. I mean, so many teams have done it. Does that come back to the running game? Is it as simple as that, hey, if you can run the ball a little bit more, you can get these teams out of 2 high? Or are we also seeing, Matt, teams are playing 2 high, but they are crashing at the line of scrimmage for everything short anyway? So even if you started running the ball, maybe that isn't the only fix. How do you see this trend? And it's not even a trend, it's just been a stagnant sort of commentary of single high, Patrick Mahomes eats. 2 high, boy, the Chiefs offense really struggles.
It's certainly a bit of both, right? Like, if you can run the ball against a 2 high defense, you are obviously going to eventually get them to get out of it and change a little bit of what they're doing, have to respect the run, and then you can hit some passes over the top of it or find more space. Like, the run game absolutely positively would help, but I think too many people focus purely on that and not the structure of the pass game. The Chiefs' pass game right now is designed to take advantage of the single high world, where it's cover 3 or match cover 3, where you're essentially having guys that have a lot of open space that they can run to and just running through that space until Mahomes is going to find them and hit them, presumably on time because he's really good at what he does. But when you switch that up to these 2 high defenses, regardless of the run or not, we can watch the teams in the playoffs right now. You don't really run the Seahawks out of playing 2 high. They get out of it if they want to, but you're not going to run them out of playing 2 high. They're just going to play the run from that position. Same with the Patriots, with the Rams, so on and so forth. So you still have to have a passing game that can beat 2 high, and the Chiefs have struggled with that since 2022. And what the big difference was, in 2022, teams were switching to this style of defense, and they were playing it they were playing it to protect themselves. They were playing essentially scared. They didn't want the ball to be thrown over their head, so it was a really soft 4 deep coverage. 2023, 2024, and this year, like you said, teams are better at crashing downhill. They're now starting out in 2 high. They're rotating to single high post snap. They're having one of their safeties essentially play into the intermediate area of the field. They're not as afraid to get beat deep because they understand all the rules. They understand what they're doing, and the Chiefs have not found a great counter to that. Like I think you have seen from some of the teams in the playoffs this year, They have answers. They have ways to attack it, and the Chiefs just simply haven't. So the run game will help, but I don't think that this old-school West Coast passing attack the Chiefs seem to lean on since 2022 is presenting the right answers to a more aggressive Vic Fangio style, a lot of cover 6, a lot of this like match quarters with the backside safety trying to rob across the field when you go 3-by-1. They have answers to what the Chiefs like to do, and we have not seen the Chiefs counter it very well through the air or on the ground.
I'm watching the Seahawks and the Rams game, Matt, over the weekend on Sunday night, and I'm watching it with a feeling that I haven't had in a while. And for so long with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, it's been like it felt like offense was easy at times. And so many other teams are like, good God, man, Andy Reid, look at all these open receivers. How much help does Patrick Mahomes need? Mahomes is a product of Andy Reid because look at all these schemes and he's so open and the offense is great and all these things. And it was nice being on that side of it because it's like, yeah, it's fun watching the Chiefs go and get every single yard accounted for against the Eagles in the second half of the Super Bowl that they wanted until they took a knee. That was great. I'm watching the Rams against the Seahawks, and I'm going, I don't remember the last game that the Chiefs went up against a really good defense and they had college open players because they were just scheming the hell out of that game on that day where they were moving the ball offensively. And it was like, when does that happen? Because I think against the Seahawks, it would be really tough for the Chiefs to move the ball and get some points where the Rams and Sean McVay made it look like 2022 Chiefs.
It's been a lot more, it's like you said, against good defenses, it's been trending towards, hey, Mahomes, hey, Pat, you kind of got to make this right here. You got to, here's what we're trying to do. If it doesn't work, you got to make this right, and he's made it happen. Mm-hmm. And now, I would say the last time I think the Bills in the playoffs last year,
Yeah.
the RPO game was working, and so I do think offense looked not as easy, but they clearly had the right answers. But it was because their same RPO stuff was working against the way the Bills were playing, and then all the secondary injuries for the Bills obviously did not help them.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it hasn't happened. You're right. It hasn't happened for a few years, and the Chiefs are never going to get under center and be one of the most run-heavy teams like the Seattle Seahawks and Los Angeles Rams are. But you can maybe lean into that a little bit more, start making it easier for Mahomes, and then that way when he has to be a hero, it's only a couple plays a game, and now all of a sudden a little bit's taken off his plate. He doesn't have to do everything. He's not having to scramble all the time. And maybe you have like a healthier version of an entire offense rather than just, we have the best player, we're going to figure it out as we go.
Visiting with Matt Lane, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast as our guest. Okay, so ESPN put out their list of the updated top 50 free agents with some of the players that have signed extensions, things like that. 3 players for the Kansas City Chiefs show up in the top 50. Number 16, Jalen Watson, who's the number 3 cornerback. Number 25, Brian Cook, the number 1 safety. And number 45, Leo Chenal, the number 3 linebacker. How would you rank those in terms of priority that you would go and re-sign? Maybe you wouldn't re-sign all 3 of them. Maybe you'd re-sign all 3 of them. But knowing the limitations, the cap structure, all of those things, how would you rank those in, if I'm Brett Veach, this is the guy I'd want to bring back most, and then second, and then third?
So it's a different question. Depending on what happens with Trent McDuffie changes my answer. Let's assume that Trent McDuffie is not traded because I don't want to live in that world. That sounds unfun to me, but it's a possibility. But if the Chiefs are keeping Trent McDuffie, number 1 to me is Brian Cook. I think that he was their most consistent and by far their best safety in coverage. And getting that guy that communicates across the back end of the defense back so you keep some level of continuity back there, I think would be big. So it'd be Brian Cook. Then probably Leo Chenal, just because I think Jalen Watson is going to get a solid payday at corner. I think he's the best player of the bunch. It's just going to be pretty expensive to pay him, and then Trent McDuffie coming up while you still have Noel Williams on the rise. So Watson, unfortunately, becomes a cap casualty, I guess, of the bunch of those 3 guys.
Let me flip it then. They've just traded Trent McDuffie. I'm not saying that, by the way. That probably sounded like, it was like, whoa! No, we would hit the breaking news sign, all of that stuff. But let me say, now I ask this question. This is, February 15th, and the Chiefs pull off a trade, and they've moved Trent McDuffie. What would your ranking be then?
It's Jalen Watson, Jalen Watson, Jalen Watson.
Okay.
He gets all 3 spots, and that's because I think he's really good.
Yeah.
And if you bring him back to play outside, that's great. We'll figure out safety. I love Leo Chenal, but I think it's going to be tough for me to see a path for him to come back. It's a Sam linebacker that he probably thinks should play more than he does in Kansas City, and I think that's fair, and some team probably pays him to figure that out, and I don't think it's Kansas City. Mm-hmm. So it really just becomes, I think at that point, Jalen Watson, get a good starting corner back under your wing, and then you'll figure out the other spots as you go.
Yeah, I thought that might have been the case. Wasn't sure, but I'm in agreement on that one. Matt Lane, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. Matt, you're the man. Appreciate it as always, brother. We will catch up in a couple of weeks. Thank you, man.
Awesome. Thank you, buddy. Have a good rest of your day.
Absolutely. You too. There's Matt Lane, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. We'll take a time out. We'll come back, continue rolling. Let's talk about the Bill Belichick conversation. We discussed it just briefly in the first hour. Vahe put out the column this morning in the Kansas City Star, well thought out, well presented in his reasoning behind not voting for Bill Belichick. And it is a reasoned response. He is also the only one that has done that so far of the at least 11 people that did not vote for Bill Belichick. We'll talk about that, his reasoning, what it means, what it could mean moving forward, coming up next right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. All right, thank you to Matt Lane joining us here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy heading up until 2 o'clock. 1 o'clock, we'll play a little sports or leisure presented by Johnny's Tavern, $25. We'll give away in a gift card to Johnny's Tavern. Price Carter joins us coming up at noon. This morning, Vahe Gregorian in the Kansas City Star wrote about the fact that he was one of the at least 11 Hall of Fame voters that did not vote for Bill Belichick. And now yesterday we presented what I believe were multiple reasons why you could come up with 11 people that didn't vote for Bill Belichick. It might have been you know what, it's only 1 year, and maybe I don't really agree with the whole 1 year thing that just changed. I don't think that's real. That might be one person. It could also be what I think is probably the majority of the voters, and that is they have changed the voting structure and the rules in that instead of the way that it was, every single person that's listed with the coaches, contributors, and seniors got their own yes-no, specifically one by one, all 5 individually yes-no. They changed that because the Hall of Fame wants to make it more of a symmetrical, year-by-year enshrinement class, anywhere from 4 to 8. No fewer than 4, no more than 8. Every single year, that's what they want. So how do they get there? You have to manipulate the voting, which means that of these 5 candidates, you could only vote for 3. And at least one was going in. Now, that was the case before as well. That the yes-nos individually, if nobody got 80%, then the person that got the most votes was the one person that went in from the seniors, coaches, contributors. That's how it was in the past. They have changed that this year. And I have forgotten the piece of paper that is on my desk. Michael, can you run down and grab? There is a piece of paper on my desk. I meant to do it in the break there, but I was sending you sound from Mike McDaniel, and that was way more interesting that we'll play in the next hour. It's just a piece of paper that looks like this, and it's got 25, 24, 23. It's got contributors, coaches, and seniors listed on it. That instead of putting it in an Excel spreadsheet, which I'll do later, I put it just on a regular piece of paper.
We're going to time him.
Oh, shoot. Let me get
your clock on.
Timer start. Okay. We're going to add like 5 seconds to this, okay?
Yeah.
You know, will be in the margin for error. This is not electrical timed, so it's not true official times like the 40. This is just the handheld. But the way that the voting has changed. Vahe Gregorian's reasoning is that he was voting more for guys that he felt were deserving that wouldn't be on the ballot moving forward. That he felt were deserving that weren't going to get another chance.
Sure.
Roger Craig, L.C. Greenwood, Ken Anderson. Those are the votes that Vahe Gregorian, those are the players he voted for. Those were his 3 votes. He did not vote for Bob Kraft. He did not vote for Bill Belichick. It had nothing to do with Spygate. It had nothing to do with changing the rules from waiting 5 years for coaches to waiting just 1 year for coaches. It was all about them changing the rules of, instead of a simple yes-no, now you get max 3, minimum 1 that you have to vote for.
I agree with all of that, and I appreciate his reasoning, and I think it is...
minute 20. Nice job. Nice job, Michael.
Good job,
minute
Darcy.
20. That's really well done.
That's some hustle.
Absolutely.
Like, I appreciate what he's saying. I get the thought process behind it. I just don't agree. Like, to me, yeah, they might fall off the ballot, but if you didn't think he was a Hall of Famer in previous years, why? Because he's about to fall off that he... All right, let's give him an attaboy. Like, I'm sorry, I don't think Ken Anderson is a Hall of Famer.
That seems to be the one that's the biggest complaint of, like, okay, Roger Craig, difference-making running back, sort of changing the position. L.C. Greenwood, part of that all-decade team, part of one of the greatest defenses we've seen. Ken Anderson, MVP, won a couple playoff games, played in a division with one of the greatest dynasties ever.
Yeah.
So was limited to a degree. Sort of like, hey, the Royals and George Brett only went to 2 World Series. Why? Well, I mean, it was them or the Yankees or, the A's or Angels, or like whoever it was at the time that they went up against every year. And those players all stayed, and there wasn't a lot of movement around and all that stuff. It's like, okay, so you've got this particular team you're going up against every single time. The Bills don't make it to the Super Bowl. Why? Because of the freaking Chiefs. Does that mean Josh Allen shouldn't be a Hall of Famer? Well, you know what? He's actually won a playoff game every single year except for his rookie year. So that's a little bit different than Ken Anderson. But it's also not even making the playoffs because they didn't have the wild card.
I mean,
so you had to win your division to go there.
Shadur Sanders only has 3 fewer Pro Bowls than Ken Anderson, so
that's a great point. But only 1 fewer MVP.
Only 1, yeah.
Currently, we'll see the next couple of years. That seems to be the one that people are complaining the most about. I went back and looked the previous 3 years just to see the senior players, if they ever showed up on the ballot again. And the last 3 years, so 2023. 2024 and 2025 senior class that were the finalists, 3 players each. If they didn't get in, did they show up again? And the answer was no. In fact, most of the semifinalists didn't make it to semifinalists the next year. Roger Craig is an exception. In 2022, he was a semifinalist. But then it took till 2026 for him to be a finalist again. Like 23, 24, 25, somehow he wasn't that semifinalist or finalist. So he shows back up. So there are chances for them to be on there again because plenty of guys on the senior class have stayed in sort of the conversation around that. Ken Anderson's one of them. Elsie Greenwood's one of them. Roger Craig is clearly one of them. So I don't actually believe this is the last chance Ken Anderson will ever have of getting into the Hall of Fame. Now, is it the last chance we'll see him as a finalist? Maybe. But the issue I have is the changing of the rules. Because Ken Anderson might have been a Hall of Famer a year ago. Because you might have had the 50 voters in there and say, Ken Anderson, yes, no. And they might have had 40 votes that said yes. And then you slide it over. Sterling Sharp, yes, no. Slide it over, yes. Because that's what last year was. There were 3 finalists. Maxie Bohan, be gone. Sterling Sharp and Jim Tyrer. And it wasn't a you must vote for 1, and you can only vote for 3. The contributor was Ralph Hay. The coach was Mike Holmgren. Last year was all individually, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. 1 person got in, that was Sterling Sharp. He was the only one that got 40 votes when they individually did it.
Because he got a great first name.
And a better last name? I don't know. I'm not sure. Thank you, EB. He was the only one that got in. 2024, 2 of the 3 seniors got in, but the contributor did not. 2023, all 3 seniors got in and coach. 4 of them got in 2023. And it's the last coach that's got in is Don Coryell, who in 2023 was voted in as a coach. Chuck Howley, Joe Klecko, and Ken Riley were the seniors in 2023. They had 4. 2 in 2024, 1 in 2025. We don't know how many are going to be of this voting class. If Belichick was eligible last year, he would have been the coach instead of Mike Holmgren. He would have gotten in.
Sure.
I would have voted Bill Belichick over Ken Anderson. I would have voted Bill Belichick 1. Like, if I only had 1 vote, it would have been Bill Belichick.
That's my whole thought is, and that's why, again, I appreciate where Vi is coming from. It's a differing point of view than I have, so I'm cool being challenged and my mindset being challenged by it. But I don't think you can take that into consideration. I think you have to simply go, who were the best 3? You can't think
or
about...
maybe only best 1. You don't have to vote for 3, but you have to vote for at least 1. Like last year, Sterling Sharp was the only one that got in.
But clearly, in my opinion, he obviously at least had 4. Vi would have had to have 4 because he had these 3, and he said Bill should have got in.
So he would have had 4 of the 5.
He would have had 4.
It doesn't mean he would have voted for Bob Kraft.
Right, so let's just say, we can even put that separate. So let's say that there's those 4. Well, then, in my opinion, you should rank them 1 through 4, and you vote for the top 3. I don't think you should take into account, will they or will they not fall off?
Yeah.
Does it suck for them? Is it unfair? Yes, all those things can be true, but I think that, at least for me, it would be the top 3. Again, this is my viewpoint, not his. I would vote for the top 3 most deserving. And if it's unfair that a guy might fall off, hey, that's the nature of the game. But
here's so I am with you on this, but I'm split from a very specific example. And I want to give this example, and I'm going to go Matthew McConaughey in A Time to Kill. Okay? Now imagine she's white. All right, we're going to go A Time to Kill, Matthew McConaughey. The Hall of Fame, these 3 senior players.
Yeah.
And it's Elsie Greenwood and Roger Craig and a third one that people are talking about, and Bill Belichick is there, and you hear somebody talk about, no, I wanted to vote for this person because he's been deserving of the Hall of Fame. He hasn't got his day to be a finalist. He finally got his day to be a finalist, and I'm not going to let it go by without voting somebody who is deserving because he may never get that day again. Now imagine it's Otis Taylor. Because now I'll be honest, that's where the bias comes in. I'm a little different.
Sure.
Because Otis Taylor continually, every freaking year, ends up being a semifinalist, but not a finalist.
But
22,
that's only one of the
semifinalists. 23, I get that. But if it was like Roger Craig, definitely. Elsie Greenwood, definitely. Bill Belichick, definitely. Otis Taylor, definitely. Well, I can only vote for 3 of them.
I get your point. And
So-
if he was your number 4,
And he was your number 4.
but you sit here
And go, Bill Belichick's going to be back, but Otis Taylor has been fighting for 5 years as a semifinalist. He finally is a finalist.
Yeah.
I'm not letting this go by. And there's a bias here for me, obviously, because we talk about one of the biggest omissions in Chiefs history, maybe the biggest omission.
Would agree.
Is Otis Taylor. It does change my opinion there because I don't have a connection to Ken Anderson.
Yeah.
I can look at just the numbers of Ken Anderson and go, I don't think he's a Hall of Famer.
Sure.
Whereas a Cincinnati Bengal fan might look at Otis Taylor and go, that guy, even in a 17-game season, averaged 54 receptions and 900 yards. That's a Hall of Famer? No, not a Hall of Famer. Where we look at it and go, the time he played, the dominant player he was, he finished second in MVP voting in 1971.
Yeah.
Not second best receiver, second in MVP voting, 2 different All-Pros, dominant player, dominant receiver of his time. And it was a different era when they weren't putting up 1,500, when Jackson Smith and Jigba numbers weren't around and Jamar Chase. He's a Hall of Famer with his particular era. If this was Vahe or others fighting because Otis Taylor has been scratching and crawling and people have been trying to get him to be a finalist for a while and he always gets to a semifinalist and doesn't get to the top 3 for the vote, if then that happens and writers around the country said, I'm sorry, Belichick's going to be back, but Otis Taylor, he finally got his chance, I'm not letting this go by, I would feel different about that than I do about Ken Anderson.
I think you're right.
Just to present my bias.
And I think it's, again, I didn't think about it like that. And again, that's at least us being honest about our bias, especially Otis Taylor's maybe like the one.
Yeah.
I think eventually I could consider myself saying Jamal Charles could be that guy because I think that his...
Oh, he's already in the Hall of Fame. Stupid Facebook, man.
Oh, you're talking about Facebook. Yeah,
those dumbass Facebook
AI things, the slop.
AI things.
Yeah.
My mom called me yesterday. I feel so bad.
Yeah, they
My mom
believe
called
it.
me. Yeah, she was like, I can't believe it. Jamal Charles in the Hall of Fame. And I said, Chiefs Hall of Fame? She's like, no, he got voted in the Hall of Fame. And I'm like, you saw it on Facebook, didn't you? She's like, yeah, it was a Chiefs thing. I'm like, I'm sorry, Mom. I was like, it's dumb. You can't believe it. I wish that it was a world, Mom, where you, who aren't going to listen to the radio all day. Yeah. You're going to go on Facebook. Oh, this is cool. Here's some news. That's really cool. I loved Jamal Charles. That's awesome. She's not studying historical facts and all of those things. It's freaking dumb, and I hate those people that are out there.
Agreed. The AI slop, fake stuff,
Yes.
annoys the bleep out of me. And by the way,
Isaiah Pacheco donated his entire salary to underprivileged kids.
Yeah. Well,
turned down an $80 million contract because he wants to stay at Chief and make league minimum.
I was cracking up at the generation that told us don't believe everything you see on the internet, believes everything they see on Facebook.
Yeah.
That one always gets me a little bit.
Yeah.
But the point I was going to make with Ken Anderson and
Jamal
Charles
Yeah.
and Otis Taylor, you're always going to have some bias if you're from that area or you grew up watching that guy. You're going to give him a little extra bump. Again, Jamal, I think, again, it's just longevity, but there's been guys without the longevity. It's not baseball as much. There's a couple guys in the Baseball Hall of Fame that you look and go, okay, that's really on the cusp. Well, if he got in, this guy should get in. But sometimes you go, yeah, that guy probably shouldn't have got in, and that's why my whole Andy Pettit thing has gone so crazy. I think if you let Andy Pettit in, I think then you have to almost let Cole Hamels and the Mark Burleys, and I'm like, those guys are the Hall of Very, very good.
Yeah.
They're not quite there. So to me, you don't want to have the low bar or the outlier. It's not that they didn't have great careers. It's not that I don't want to recognize them, but the NFL has done a tough job because I think there's so many names that you can point to. Baseball's a little harder. NFL, I do think there's some names. That's why I think we all agree that Otis Taylor should be in. It's not just because of the bias, but because we look at other guys and go, well, no, if he's in, how's Otis not in? And I think quarterbacks to me are the hardest one, era adjusted, all of that. I get that because you'll look at, let's say, even Joe Namath. I think Joe Namath is one that always, I feel like the reputation and the stories never make sense when you look at the stats. Now, I get it's a different era, all that stuff, but I mean, he led the interceptions in 4 years, 173 touchdowns, 220 interceptions. He didn't have a winning record. He never won an MVP, but he won a Super Bowl in New York, and so Broadway Joe.
And he guaranteed it.
And so those are always the ones that are. So now that Ken Anderson's in, which again,
we don't know if he's in.
Well, I guess we don't know if he's in.
We don't know. He might not have gotten the 40 votes.
Which is actually, that's a great call. So he might not be in.
I mean, honestly, like L.C. Greenwood and Roger Craig may be the only two, or maybe only one of them. Again, Sterling Sharp was the only one that got in last year, and that was a simple yes/no.
Just to me, I think the NFL has done a slight disservice to itself with some of the Hall of Fame. I think baseball does it so much better. Now, I know baseball at times can be a bunch of ridiculousness when it comes to the steroid era versus, the 1890s, and let's let in like anyone on a winning team. Like, I get those things, but I just think the NFL has done itself a disservice early on by having so many outliers in there. There's not really a lot of consistency on are you looking for the peak? Are you looking for longevity? Are you looking for, it has to be both? Because that's clearly not both. I think NFL more than any, it's did you have a high peak or did you have longevity? Again, it's why the Jamal Charles conversation becomes so hard, is because you let in guys, was it, Barry Sanders, I'm not saying he's Barry Sanders, but Barry Sanders played what, 10 years?
Yeah, Jamal played 11.
Played 11.
Yeah. Sterling Sharp played 7.
Was it Gale Sayers played how many?
5, 6.
6, something like that. I mean, again, this is not me.
Again, Sterling Sharp. Did I say Sterling Shepard, by the way? Sterling Sharp played 7. He got in last year, but he was a dominant player in those 7, and then injuries.
Gale Sayers basically played 5 years because his last 2 years he played 2 games.
Yeah. So you could say he played 5, 6, 7. Sorry.
But again, it goes back to what are you looking for? Now, again, he was 5-time All-Pro first team. I'm not saying Gale Sayers shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame.
One of the greatest running backs we've ever seen, unfortunately, in the short amount of time he played.
And so I think that, to an extent, a little different. Jamal
the only
Charles
thing to hold against him is that he went to Kansas. That's the only thing, right, Michael? Yeah, I was hoping you were going to play that.
It's the Kansas Comet you're talking about.
Damn right, man.
And so for me, I just think the NFL, I think Vi has a great point of the NFL Hall of Fame voting being so far off the mark that it makes it difficult, and these decisions have to be made. I disagree with his decision making, but I appreciate the thought process that went into it.
Because I would have, and I'm not in the room when people are giving their presentations on Ken Anderson, on L.C. Greenwood, on Roger Craig, on Robert Kraft, on Bill Belichick. Not in there when these presentations are being made, so I don't know what the points are made and why it would sway you one way or another. If I was in the room, and I might have been like, you know what, I think I'm voting for him. I came in here not thinking I was going to vote for him, and now I am. But if I'm just looking at it from afar, and from what I would think is a Hall of Famer, number 1 would be Bill Belichick. So I can figure out 2, 3, and 4. Number 5, Bob Kraft. But I can figure out 2, 3, and 4. The issue also you run into is that you get one coach a year, and they're compared to players. So who's got a bigger impact? Like, okay, this quarterback that was an MVP or a coach? Well, we've seen in years past, it's been the players over the coach.
This is the exception. This is the exception that proves the rule. Is there's a handful of guys. I think Andy Reid will eventually fall into that category, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, if you think just throughout time, there's only a handful of head coaches that fall in that category of I vote for them impact-wise over a player, but Bill Belichick's probably the number one guy on that list.
Yeah. I mean, Mike Holmgren didn't make it last year, and that was a simple yes-no.
Yeah.
It wasn't you have a maximum you can vote for. And that guy won a Super Bowl. Been to multiple Super Bowls. Oddly enough, Sterling Sharp got in over Mike Holmgren. The irony there of those two. It's like Sterling Sharp played the final years of his career for Mike Holmgren, and he got in. But, it would be, to me, it would be totally different. It would be a different conversation, and it'd be a different conversation if everything was simple yes, no, and Bill Belichick didn't get in. If there were 11 people that said, I'm not even voting for him. Not that I'm only required to vote for a maximum 3, because what the NFL is doing and the Hall of Fame is doing is trying to artificially create whatever numbers they want. This nice, set 4 to 8 every year. We're going to have minimum 4, maximum 8 every year. This is what we want moving forward. So how do we do this? How do we create these borders and these guardrails, these bumpers, to keep them within this lane so we don't have 2 and we don't have 11? Even though there might be a year where it just happens to be that 11 players are worthy of getting into the Hall of Fame. So even if there were 11 surefire Hall of Famers, too bad. Imagine if Major League Baseball said, first-time candidates, you can only have a maximum of 2. First-time candidates go in the Hall of Fame. That means one of Brett, Yount, or Ryan would not have been in the Hall of Fame that year, because you arbitrarily set up this number that you would say, no, we can only have this. Yeah. Who's deserving? Who's not? No, we want 4 to 8, and that's it. Even though there might be 2 that are only deserving, we're going to put in 4. That's also a problem. You're going to guarantee there are 4 every year. What if there are only 2 that are deserving that particular year? Nope, 4 go in. Well, what if there are 10? Only 8. Okay, well, now are you creating a Hall of Fame, or are you creating a yearly enshrinement, presentation, PR?
I mean, because if you look at the baseball this year, this class was not a great class. I mean, I'm not the ones that eventually got voted in, but I'm saying this first year
first ballot
players.
Yeah, right.
It was. I think next year's might be even worse. There's just really no one, and you don't force it. That's just the nature of the beast. Sometimes you're going to have, again, a lot more guys that are deserving, and sometimes you're just going to have.
Because if they really want to make coaches part of it, then I think you can start to have a conversation around, okay, so if we create a specific coach category and we have 3 finalists for coaches, we will do a up, down, yes, no for all 3. So they don't go against Elsie Greenwood or Mike Holmgren, or Sterling Sharp or Mike Holmgren, Chuck Howley or Don Coryell. Okay, well, Ken Riley, Don Coryell. Okay, well, now you're talking about players versus coaches, and this coach was incredibly innovative. What did he win? Well, he didn't win at the highest level, but man, the innovation that he had was what advanced and helped advance the NFL. You can't really tell the story about the passing game and what the NFL has become without, Air Coryell. Okay, and look at the success he's had. That's a Hall of Famer. He wouldn't have been in the Hall of Fame this year. If they could only vote for 3, Coryell would not have made it in. But they had 4 in that class that year, because it was a simple yes-no. This is the Hall of Fame trying to arbitrarily create these things. It's dumb. I think it'll be fixed. I think they'll rectify it.
I agree. I
also think Bill Belichick was a first ballot Hall of Famer that should have gone in. I don't believe there were at least 11 people that voted to keep Bill Belichick out of the Hall of Fame based on Spygate.
Agreed.
I believe there's at least one. I would call BS if everybody that didn't vote for Belichick came out and said nothing to do with Spygate. Nothing to do with Spygate, Deflategate, nothing at all. I would call BS on that. I don't call BS on Vahe's reasoning, because he's the first one to say, hey, here's why I did it. I don't have to go and artificially create something in my mind just to make everybody stop yelling at me.
Correct.
No, these are the reasons why I had. This is what I did, why I did it. Here's the reason. And I'm presenting it to you. Anybody else want to step up and do that? Because right now we're 1 for minimum 11 that have done that. Not a shock that it's Vahe. More Zone next. right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, heading up until 2 o'clock. An hour from now, we will play a little sports or leisure. $25 to Johnny's Tavern will be given away. I've got a fun category. I think it's fun. We'll find out if anybody else thinks it's fun. If you don't, I don't care. Because I do. Because I have the microphone, and you will listen to every damn word I have to say. It's from The Wedding Singer. Let's talk to the draft crusher. But maybe that's his thing. Maybe not. I don't know. Price Carter from Arrowhead Addict. Price, is that what they call you around Arrowhead Addict? Hey, hey, everybody. Draft crushers here.
I wish. I mean, that's a pretty good nickname. I certainly have plenty of draft crushes. I mean, that's really just what it is. Just guys talking about dudes.
Well, you and Sterling would get along.
I'll be honest. We do not call him the draft crusher. We call him a draft legend, but not draft crusher.
I think he crushes the draft. I think that's what he does.
They call him the draft crusher. I'm the beer crusher. It's just hand in hand.
Yep, that's right. I'm the segment crusher. That's what they call me, and it's not because you're crushing it in a good way. It's the other part of it. So let's go ahead and get into it, Price. I want to talk some draft with you. Absolutely do. But it's the first time that you and I have had a chance to talk since some of the changes that have taken place with the coaching staff. And there is certainly a discussion amongst the Twitter world, the media world, the analyst world, with Eric Bieniemy brought back, that it is a discussion of one side, it's same old Andy Reid. This is the issue. Here he does it again. This is just the same Andy Reid. While another side is, well, haven't we said that's kind of what they've been missing? And maybe Eric Bieniemy bringing something from Ben Johnson. Maybe this is actually going to work, and it's not as simple as, oh, I know him, and this is the guy I'm going to bring back. And then there's the people in the middle. So where do you stand, Price? Where do you fall in this argument, this conversation?
Yeah, I definitely think it's a little bit of glass half empty, glass half full situation, and it just kind of depends on how you want to look at it. You can look at the hire of bringing Eric Bieniemy back where, I mean, we aren't privy to all part of the process. The only thing I'll say is we seem to know every other team's offensive coordinator interviews, and we knew Eric Bieniemy was like a candidate for the Chiefs OC job, like as Caleb Williams was dropping back on that insane completion on 4th and goal. Like Andy Reid had already texted him before Caleb Williams completed that pass.
He might have texted him when the Rams intercepted the ball.
Yeah.
That's when the text went out from Big Red.
It just did not seem like the most thorough, in-depth process. I know some other people have made this point, but it does make sense to bring in other people because it's like a free consulting session. It's a free opportunity to hear what other people think of your scheme. So I can certainly understand people's frustration with that process and that it just was kind of Bieniemy by default. And, I do think also there's something there with Nagy and Bieniemy, whether they just were super sure that Nagy was going to get a job and now he's kind of not there, but his contract ran out, we can't re-sign it. It's silly because, I mean, how many coaches on the staff get their contract extended and we don't hear about it? Dave Tobe or whoever else, Andy Heck, like they just re-up those guys and that's kind of the other story. So it's clear that there was either a desire for change on Nagy's behalf or Andy's behalf, or both just mutually agreed to part ways. And bringing Eric Bieniemy back, I do think that there are some things, like you look at some of the stuff that goes on in the wide receiver room. I think one thing that the Chiefs have made pretty clear from their moves this offseason is they didn't feel like those coaches were handling the wide receiver room well. That was a room that needed maturity, and it wasn't getting it from the players and possibly even the coaching. So they make a veteran hire in that area with the Browns coach, who was the passing game coordinator as well for the Browns. And then they also very clearly are saying they think that there needs to be some different mentality, different attitude in the locker room, in the practices. And I think Patrick Holmes made a comment, too, that he felt that they were not practicing as well as they could have. So glass half empty is Andy Reid bringing back an Andy Reid guy. This offense has always been Andy's offense, and it's not going to change. Glass half full is this is about as much turnover as we've seen on the offensive staff in quite some time. We saw a lot of defensive turnover whenever Spagnuolo was brought in after Bob Sutton, but they've brought in some different passing game coordinators or quality control guys today, and it seems that, and they're not done. There's probably going to be a new running back coach hired as well, too. So it does look like this is as close of change as you're going to get. It's like, your parents who don't like spicy food, they order like chicken and rice at Chipotle, and that's it. Like maybe they try a little guac this time. Maybe they add a little flavor. It's still not crazy change, but it's a little bit of change. And for Andy Reid, I guess that's the half full view of it.
Price, I don't know who the running back coach is going to be, but with Eric Bieniemy also being a specialist with running backs, you could say they would have deuce coaches on their staff to coach the running backs. But I don't know who Andy Reid's going to hire for his running back coach. I'm just saying you would have deuce.
Yes, yeah, Deuce Staley
number of running back coaches.
For sure. And I feel like they've sniffed around him before. Around the time that they brought Nagy back, I feel like there was...
When Greg Lewis took the job with the Ravens from the Chiefs, there was at least some talk of that.
Yeah, and, there's very clearly going to be large turnover in that room, and you definitely feel good about Eric Bieniemy and Deuce Staley or whoever new running back coach, hopefully from the outside, not some guy who was, coaching down the road at high school a couple of years ago to be coaching those players.
I think it'd be cool to have a running backs coach that played running back and has been a running back coach. But whatever, that's just beggars, choosers, all of that stuff. The Matt Nagy behind-the-scenes thing is interesting because, I had heard as the season was winding down that regardless this was the final year for Matt Nagy in Kansas City, that it was mutual, that even if Nagy had wanted to stay, I do think then Andy Reid would have re-signed Matt Nagy and he would still be the offensive coordinator. But mutual from the standpoint of if Matt Nagy is just an offensive coordinator, it'll be the first time in his career. It'll be a job that he's never had before as just being an OC. Because while he was the OC in Kansas City, he didn't call plays. Then he went to be a head coach and also call plays. Then he gave up play calling duties. If he is just an offensive coordinator that then calls plays, it's the first time he's ever had that job. So it's different than what he's done in his career. I had been told that at the end of this year, Nagy was moving on regardless, and there was going to be a new OC that was going to be there. I wasn't told that it was going to be Eric Bieniemy, but just that there's going to be a mutual parting of ways. Price, it also takes me back to the end of 2022 because my understanding, and I trust it, is that there was also a readiness for everybody to move on between Eric Bieniemy and the Chiefs. That some of the players were ready to move on, some of the higher up players were ready to move on, some of the other, it's like, okay, it's kind of run its course. And I wonder, Price, if we're in this mode of like baseball managers, that you go from, you hire a player's coach, and then he gets fired and you got to bring in a hard ass. You got to bring in a guy that's just going to whip them all into shape. And then, boy, you've had a red-ass manager and you weren't winning. Got to bring in a player's coach. Got to make sure that clubhouse feels good about everything. And it feels like the Chiefs went from red-ass, in your face, here's how he's going to demand everything, to then that kind of running its course to, okay, now we got more of a player's coach that's, going to get along a little bit different, does it differently. Okay, the offense has slipped. Let's get the hard ass back in here and let's get everybody back into shape. And I think there's a chance that Patrick Mahomes, with his Instagram tweets and everything, there's a little bit of a maybe you don't know what you have while you have it when it's gone.
Yeah, that was actually the exact analogy I was going to make. Kind of, you didn't know what you had until you missed it. And I think the question here is the default point is that it's Andy Reid's offense. It was yesterday, it will be today, and it will be tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So your fire Matt Nagy comments wasn't ever really based in what he was doing to the offense as much as it was Andy Reid. Now, I do think there is a point to be made of Eric Bieniemy, Matt Nagy, those guys have a role on that offensive staff. They are helping install things. They are putting in plays. So what is the best companion with Andy Reid's game? We see Andy Reid at the mic. We see him. He's the grandpa. He'll sit on the bench, put his hand on your knee, and tell you. I referenced this on the podcast the other day. There's this great clip from NFL Films back when Andy Reid was quarterback coach for Green Bay, and Mike Holmgren is just tearing Brett Favre a new one, and Andy walks up and goes, "Hey, that's on me. We were in the wrong formation. I put it in wrong." And Holmgren goes, "Well, why is it wrong? Why is it on you?" He's like, "That's me. I'm sorry. That's my bad." And then he walks away. And then Brett Favre looks at him and goes, "I love you. Thank you." Like, Andy Reid he's not that guy. He's not the guy who's going to tear into you. We see him get red in the face a little bit, but for the most part, he's not that guy. So maybe his, salt to his pepper, his peanut butter to his jelly is a guy like Eric Bieniemy who can do those things. And I think there are, whether you want to look at the play of the wide receivers, the play of the running backs, the penalties, whatever, I do think there is some optimism to say, like, maybe this is the better pairing with Andy Reid. And I mean, to your point about the offensive coordinator, Matt Nagy's tenure in Chicago continues to be underrated. He had a winning record with that organization. He won playoff games. I mean, Mitchell Trubisky has done nothing. You go back and look at the skill players on that team during that time. It's nothing. Like, obviously it was a great defense, Fangio defense and all that. They had prime Khalil Mack, but I do think he deserves another chance, and maybe he's going to take one of these kind of bottom tier Cardinals or Raiders jobs just to take something, or maybe it's being the Eagles OC and entering into that drama nest. It's a tough situation for him, and it's also worth mentioning that Eric Bieniemy has basically failed everywhere he's went since he's left Kansas City. He got kind of a lame duck job in Washington. Can't really blame him since Ron Rivera was a dead man walking at that point in an organization that was starting Sam Howell.
Yeah.
But then he goes to UCLA, which was one of the worst offenses in college football, and then lands back as a running backs coach. So I guess if you're trying to look for the glass half full, the optimistic side, you're just hoping that time away from the organization, maybe some of Ben Johnson's run game has worn off on him, although I don't necessarily think that he's going to be bringing a ton over. And just the pairing of, you got the grandfatherly Andy Reid, and then, the hard-nosed Eric Bieniemy.
Look, I will say this: if good God, I went Eric Bieniemy there. What I will present in this particular conversation coming up right now, I've always wondered, why do we say I will say this and then we say it? Anyway, with Eric Bieniemy, if people were sort of tired of how he had coached and how disciplinarian and maybe in your face he was, and if that had run raw with other coaches or players, bringing him back, that only arms him more with his coaching style, that's actually what you want him to be. So if that was a problem at any point the previous time, all you've done is just simply say, that's actually what we're missing now, and that's why we're bringing you back. That's as an aside. Price Carter, Arrowhead Addict, is our guest. What do you think of the overall staff changes, coaching staff changes? We mentioned EB, but Chad O'Shea, Nate Pagan, who was brought in, hired to be a quality control coach, was a wide receiver coach at Villanova for the last 7 seasons, was part of the training camp for the Chiefs last year with the Bill Walsh fellowship that they give out to coaches. He was at training camp last year helping out with wide receivers, so he's got some sort of an experience with them. He's brought in, again, 7 years as a wide receiver coach. Chad O'Shea, all of his decades worth of wide receiver coach. What do you think of what we've seen so far of the overhaul, and not just the specific focus on Eric Bieniemy, as to maybe, is it encouraging to you what we're seeing, that Andy Reid's decisions?
Yeah, I do think everything outside of the EB hire has been encouraging. I think we'd all love to just think like, oh, they're gonna bring in Nate Shieldhouse, and they're just gonna start running the Sean McVay offense blended with Andy Reid, and all this stuff is going to change. He's going to become a CEO coach instead of a play caller. But that's living. I think that's expectations versus reality there are a little bit different. I think you have to be happy with what you've seen as far as they're bringing in voices that aren't familiar with Andy Reid. Being the passing game coordinator for Kevin Stefanski has got to be a positive. You listen to how Rob Gronkowski, Julian Edelman have talked about Chad O'Shea as far as his time with the Patriots. You think about what those teams were. They were nuanced. They were refined. They didn't win with overall athleticism or speed. They were technical. They were smart. They were savvy. Those are all things that you would like the wide receiver room to to emulate. And then you look at these guys. I'm not going to pretend to say that I've watched a lot of Villanova football. I actually didn't know they had a football team until just now.
Frank Bull is pissed at you right now. Frank Bull is a Villanova football Hall of Famer.
Tano Passanio.
Brian Westbrook. How do you go to? Tano, yes, but Westbrook first and foremost.
Come on,
Frank Bull, Brian Westbrook. They are on the same level in my mind of football acumen.
And then Tano Passanio.
That's right. And then Jay Wright. Oh wait, damn it, that's basketball. Anyway, Price, we interrupted. Go ahead, sir.
But yeah, I mean, and shout out to the Godfather of Kansas City sports, Frank Bull.
Right.
I respect him and the Villanova football. But these are at least young. They appear to be fairly young hires with good trajectory, and that's one of the things you look at too. I know. I believe the kid from Villanova was on one of the top coaching lists as far as like up and coming candidates, and that's what you want, right? Like you want to start infusing new ideas. not just for the overall, like, the staff, but to the players as well, too. These are guys who are connecting. You know, how does Joe Cullen, how does Steve Spagnuolo, how do they relate to a guy who's 21 coming out of Texas that's already a millionaire from NIL the day he walks in the door? So I think all those things are great signs, and that's definitely the more positive spin on this. And like we said, they're not done. Hopefully they bring in a respected running backs coach, and then they've got something to really work towards next year. And hopefully this is more time off that this team's had in forever. Hopefully they are able to revamp the scheme and really sit down and evaluate what went well and what didn't.
Price Carter's our guest, Arrowhead Addict. Let's talk some draft while we've got you here, Price, because damn it, you're the draft crusher. As we get ready for this draft, they've only got 6 picks right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. And they've obviously got some nice selections with how higher up they are than in years past, 9 and 40 specifically. Is there a position that you would really like to see the Chiefs address in this draft? It may be obvious as defensive end, defensive line. It could be what a lot of us talked about last year is that, well, they're going to get a running back. I mean, they've got to address that. Maybe that's the spot that you're like, they got to get somebody like that. Is there a position you're looking at and hoping the Chiefs address maybe the most, and maybe if they're throwing numbers at it, that may not be running back, but is there a position there in the draft?
Yeah, I definitely think defensive line not only is it a high need, like you could argue if they went first round, second round, defensive end, defensive tackle, or vice versa, you honestly couldn't argue with that as far as like too much investment, especially when you look at some of these teams in the playoffs and what they're doing. The heavy investment on the defensive line, you really can't have too many of those guys, and I think that lines up really nicely with the strength of the class. We've seen, there's a lot of defensive ends and defensive tackles who are already stringing together great processes and have great tape. If you're talking about guys that are pretty Chiefs-coded, you're going to start with Ruben Bain from Miami, who obviously put together a fantastic playoff run there in the big spotlight. Already had a great season. His running mate, Akeem Messidor, leather helmet, as he's called, because he's a little bit on the older side. He'll be 25 on draft
right.
day. But he's strung together a great process as well, too. David Bailey. And I will shout out, and he's having a terrific Senior Bowl if you've been following along on my timeline. Lee Hunter, the nose tackle. Here's my thing. Patrick Mahomes is cooking as the GM of the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Romello Height, the other edge rusher, Lee Hunter, David Bailey, Jacob Rodriguez, middle linebacker. I mean, Texas Tech defense was legit this year. But there are a lot of good defensive tackles and edge defenders. T.J. Parker, he's a guy this time last year. He's from Clemson, was probably a top 15, top 10 pick. Had a really down year like a lot of the Clemson guys did because that whole program just really went the other direction. He's a guy who's got that Spagnuolo build, and then I was texting Sterling last night about Zion Young, who is just a dog. He's a tone setter. I love that. Like you want to talk about that Frank Clark swagger?
Yes.
He's talking trash at the coin toss against Auburn in overtime, and he calls a shot with a sack and a tackle for a loss. It's hard not to love those guys. And you think about what they have in pick 40, that's 8 picks away from where they've been picking recently in the first round. So it's almost like having another first-round pick, and I won't be shocked if we end up with more draft capital for the Chiefs than they have right now, whether that be via trade or trade down. So I definitely think that the defensive line is the spot you address. There's a lot of names at defensive tackle, too, and also, what I would really like to see them do at defensive tackle is get a guy who is a true run-stuffing force. No more Derek Nottie, no more Mike Pennell. Like Mike Ehrmantraut said to Walter White, no more half measures, Walter. Get a true run-stuffer. That way, Omar Norman Lott can be the 290-pound pass rush rate monster that he's supposed to be instead of coming out way heavier like he was before. So, whether that's Caden McDonald, Dominic Orange, Big Citrus, the nose tackle from Iowa State, or Lee Hunter, who I brought up. All those guys, I think, could really help free up Omar Norman and Chris Jones.
God, I love Big Citrus, man. I need to have Big Citrus in my life.
Top tier nicknames in this draft. You've got Dante Corleone.
Dante Corleone, I need that one. Yes, Big Citrus or Corleone. 100%. You need the Godfather of Big Citrus here in Kansas City. One of the questions I was going to ask you, because I know you've done some work on Arvell Reese, and you mentioned different players that are having good Senior Bowls. You did some work on Zion Young. I don't think the answer to this would be Zion Young, but the question is, at number 9, everybody's available. For whatever reason, 1 through 8 didn't put their picks in. They all went quarterback, okay? You can't have a quarterback at number 9 But just to see where your head is, because I think there are a number of people that would say, "Oh, I get my pick of everybody, Ruben Bain," or "I get my pick of everybody, David Bailey." What would what card would you turn in if you had everybody on the board except for quarterback at number 9?
I think this is a great exercise because I think in a lot of years the answer would just be like, oh, so easy, right? Like, oh, it's Marvin Harrison Jr. or oh, it's this book, it's Joe Alt or whatever. This can't miss tackle prospect. That is not this class. For me right now, my number one prospect on my board is David Bailey. I love David Bailey. I compared, my comp for him is Shark Week. Like, you watch the sharks throwing the seals around on Shark Week, the great whites jumping in out of the water. That's what his tape is like. It's so much fun. It's so explosive. Those little RPO screens where they get the ball and they just throw it out to a wide receiver in a second or two. David Bailey breaks those up because he gets in the backfield so fast. And he is not a total zero in the run game. Is he great at it? No, but he's not a nothing. He's a guy who played a lot more off ball when he was at Stanford the year before, but his tape this year is phenomenal. And one thing I will say about the Texas Tech guys, including Jacob Rodriguez, the middle linebacker, who's doing great down in Mobile right now, is you just got to wonder a little bit about what is the cumulative impact of having Lee Hunter, Romello Height, and David Bailey on that defensive line, clearing up gaps for Jacob Rodriguez to go fill. Or you talk about Miami, like Messidor and Bain being together. What's the impact of those guys? So I do wonder about that a little bit. My dream is David Bailey. That's the shiny red Corvette I see in the parking lot. I know it's not practical. I don't need it. I've got 2 kids. I need car seats, but I want to take it home. It doesn't matter that I can't get out of it because it's hard to get into. With all that being said, I think it's probably Ruben Bain. I think the skill set is just so translatable. The run defense is a plus. Great tackles for loss. His versatility up and down the line is something that Spagnuolo would crave. And this, for being a bigger-bodied guy, and yes, people are going to talk about the arm length, everything else in his profile screams extremely productive, high-impact player. Outliers are outliers for a reason. If it's just one thing with the arm length, which let's let the guy that measures arms first, but I think it's probably Ruben Bain. I could be talked into possibly Mekhi Lemon. His analytical profile is just awesome. Great against man, great against zone, great at the catch point despite smaller size. The run after catch is elite. I think the thing about Mekhi Lemon is if you brought him in this year, there'd be I think that'd almost be an indication of this team isn't invested in Rashee Rice long term because their profiles do have some overlap. So for me, it's Ruben Bain just because I know he's coming in and Steve Spagnuolo is going to use him. Versus David Bailey, I'd be a little bit concerned that we'd be seeing him lined up off ball or something like that, like the Josh Uche effect.
Visiting with Price Carter from Arrowhead Addict. All right, a couple of quick ones for you. I've seen a number of mock drafts where Bailey, Bain, even Falk gone along with Tyson and Tate. So Price Carter's now on the clock as of January 29th. Are you going Love? Is it Lemon? Is it Caleb Downs? By the way, Arvell Reese is gone too. So I mean, that's not that.
Well, you can keep the Arvell Reese. I tweeted out a picture. It's a meme, and it's like staring at a light and blinding myself for no reason. That's how it's like. Arvell Reese is a total projection. There's athletic traits there, but all of his pass rushing production this year came basically on blitzes and QB spies. He's a hell of an athlete, but you could not catch me using a top 10 pick on Arvell Reese, no matter what team I am.
It's interesting.
But that's just my opinion. But for me, I think you cannot miss at this pick. That is what I've said in the first round, just time and time again. It can't be a miss. So for me, it's Caleb Downs, a top 3 player in this class. It's so versatile, can be used in so many different ways, does so many things well. We've seen what this defense looks like with a Tyrann Mathieu, with a Justin Reed. This is a guy that you can bring in and be that type of player right away. And I know that people argue positional value. You go and watch the impact that Nick Emanwari had on the defense. Different player as far as the size, the way that they're used. But Caleb Downs gives you an ability to put players in their strengths. Put players in ways that they're going to be successful and allows you to disguise so much. And I made a little graph as far as most safe, least safe, highest floor, lowest ceiling, those type of things. Mm-hmm. He is the highest ceiling, lowest floor prospect in this class, in my opinion. Oh, wow. I feel no matter what, you're going to draft Caleb Downs, he's going to be a good safety. His upside is, a pretty all-pro, and his downside is just a good safety. Like, you're never going to look at that pick and it's going to be like the FAU pick where you're just filled with regret. Is his impact potentially as great as a Reuben Bain, as a David Bailey, or you want to take Jeremiah Love or something like that? Maybe, because of the positional value. But I feel so good about his floor as a prospect, and that's really what I think they should be measuring in this class is we need good football players, and let's worry about the rest later. And right now, that to me, that sounds like Caleb Downs.
All right, last one for you. Do you have an early draft crush?
Oh, I've got so many. I brought up Lee Hunter. I brought up David Bailey. Let me bring up Emmett Johnson, the running back from Nebraska.
Okay. Look at you going to your roots.
Yes, full disclosure, I am a Nebraska fan. I'm wearing a Nebraska hoodie right now. But this guy fits Andy Reid's scheme to a T. First off, he was one of the most productive backs in college football. More productive than Jeremiah Love, than Jadaria Price, and Catrell Allen. He's one of the most productive backs in college football. He had an argument to be in New York for the Heisman. First off, they run a blend of this air raid offense with Dana Holgerson, who used to be at Houston. He's now the OC for Nebraska. So they motion him out of the backfield, and he'll run routes from an empty set all the time, whether it be shallow cross, go, Texas routes, swing, screens. He is shifty. He is speedy. The top-end speed isn't elite, but the amount of people that he can make miss in the hole, because he runs quite a bit of gap and duo, too. I think he's better in his own scheme, which, again, Chiefs, that's them. But he's the guy that I could just see ripping off chunk gain after chunk gain for the Chiefs. My comp for him was kind of like Rashard White for the Buccaneers, but at this point, I think he's more than that. And the passing profile, you just got to go look at what he did against UCLA. That was one of his best games of the season. I love him. I love his fit. And, yes, I do love where he played college as well, too.
Hey, it's all good, man. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, look, I root for Mizzou, and I have no problem. I'd love for them at number 40 to get Zion. That'd be great. It has nothing. If Zion was, I would love if somehow he's not going to be there, but if Cassius Howell's there at number 40, amazing. Doesn't matter if he's from Kansas City or not. He just is a phenomenal player. So, yeah, I'm with you on Emmett Johnson. This is a total quick aside, 30 seconds or less. Where do you think Emmett Johnson goes in the draft? Is he early, late day 2? Is he early day 3? Where do you think he's going to be drafted at?
I think he's certainly a day 2 option. I think he's got an argument for RB2. I think some people like Jadarian Price more. I think Jonah Coleman, the running back from Washington.
Yeah.
Jonah Coleman and Emmett Johnson are the only guys in this class who have been just true bell cows. Even Jeremiah Love shared his workload. Now, I think Love's obviously got a track record that says he can be more than that, but Johnson and Coleman have done it snap after snap, game after game.
You're the man. Price Carter, Arrowhead Addict. Look forward to our conversations as we continue rolling along, getting closer and closer to the draft. Thank you, sir, as always, and we'll be watching along and following Price A. Carter with Arrowhead Addict, Price A. Carter on Twitter. Price, you're the man. Appreciate it, brother.
Have a good one, fellas. Thanks.
Absolutely. There's Price Carter, Arrowhead Addict. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling more zone next. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy coming up at 1 o'clock. Got some sports or leisure presented by Johnny's Tavern. $25 to Johnny's Tavern. We talked about the Hall of Fame voting in the previous hour. Vahe and his reasoning, which is a reasoned response as to why he did not vote for Bill Belichick. We also presented our reasons as to why we would have voted for Bill Belichick. Not there on the committee, not there in the room, all of those things. But it is also, we can also acknowledge, I think I can disagree and say I would have voted Bill Belichick while also acknowledging that the system is flawed and acknowledging that if the system in 2025 or 2026, if the system for the 2026 potential class was the same as the system for the 2025 class, we would not be having this issue because Bill Belichick would be a Hall of Famer.
Sure.
He would have gotten 40 votes from the people if it was a simple up, down, yes, no. So we talked about those things. I want to play this clip. This is from Mike McDaniel's press conference being introduced as the offensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Chargers of Anaheim. He, at one point, was going to be a head coach, or at least interview with the Bills or whoever. But now he's the OC. This, to me, is really interesting to hear because, a lot of people had Mike McDaniel as a number one choice for OC. If it was a true OC opening, he would be my number one. And I do think if Andy Reid was, say, a defensive-minded coach, that all of the success that they have had, that Andy Reid was a defensive guy and didn't call his own plays. I think Mike McDaniel might be the offensive coordinator with the Chiefs because you get to work with Patrick Mahomes. You saw him now, choosing Justin Herbert. Anyway, we've talked about Matt Nagy saying, well, we have some breather plays for Patrick Mahomes. They're called breather plays. So you have plays specifically to give your quarterback a breather. And that has to be straight handoffs because even other times you have running plays, they are attached to RPOs that he has to read and make sure everything is the way that it should be, and then read the defense and hand off or throw it. Every play essentially outside of under center, just giving the ball, is a Patrick Mahomes play. Well, Mike McDaniel had this to say about quarterbacks who are elite at making those special plays and the responsibility of an offensive coordinator when you have said players.
So there's a lot of incredible plays that Justin has made. He's firmly capable, and sometimes as a coach, you can, rely upon that a little too much. There's schematic ways to get, completions that maybe, all three quarterbacks in your roster would be capable of doing, of easier completions, kind of not putting so much. It can be taxing over time for a player to necessitate an incredible play too often to be able to score points and win football games. So you try to take it off of him by creating some low-cost, high-reward offense that he's firmly capable of doing, but maybe a player of lesser talent would be capable of doing as well.
I mean, Justin Herbert makes incredible plays, and I think sometimes as a coach you can rely upon that too much. It can be taxing over time to necessitate an incredible play all the time to be able to score or move the ball. We have to design an offense that also has the low-cost, high rewards that are in there. Essentially, parentheses, so the entire offense isn't on the shoulders of the quarterback, that all 60, 70 plays we run in a game is run through his ears before he ever takes the snap.
I also love the thought process. It wasn't in that clip, but he talked about the run game and why, working with Harbaugh and will it work? And basically along the lines of, well, you saw what I did running the ball with San Francisco. You saw what I did in Miami, and now I'm going to a place that also likes to run the football, a.k.a. Harbaugh. You marry those two together, and there's going to be some creativity there. And I think it goes in line with this, too, of, well, that takes so much pressure off of Justin Herbert. While the Chargers did run the ball effectively a lot, the injuries piled up, and then you saw what happened to Justin. That's a guy who's been injured a lot and who's fought through a ton of injuries. Can you take a lot off of his plate? Can you make some more easy throws? And that's what you wanted to hear him do in KC. Like, when you hear Mike McDaniel say all those things, the run aspect coupled with taking the alleviating some of the pressure on the quarterback, you go, that's exactly what you wanted to hear if that was going to be the guy in KC. Again, I'm so happy with Bieniemy, but this is why I think we all wanted Mike McDaniel at one point.
Well, yeah, and I hate it that he's in L.A. with that offense, because I don't want to see him be able to have Justin Herbert as his quarterback and do the things with the running game that he was able to do in Miami with Tua as his quarterback.
Now, he does not have Devon Achane, but he's also gotten a lot from guys in San Francisco with Raheem Mostert and Jimmy Garoppolo was the quarterback at those times. It wasn't like it was a superstar guy. Now, again, that's Shanahan, but
he's had Jimmy G and Tua as his quarterbacks that he's worked with as the OC / play caller, head coach. Now he's going to have Justin Herbert as his guy. And you know what? I mean, Achane was a third-round draft pick. You know, he wasn't day one or early day two, and it's mainly because of his size. The speed is unquestioned, but 5'9", 190, you know, the size is questionable.
Is that all he is?
Yeah, but a lightning bolt is what he is. But you design the offense and the running game around that, and the Miami Dolphins, while having Tua, have been one of the more effective running games in the NFL. I mean, Achane averaged almost 6 yards per attempt with Tua at quarterback and no Tyreek Hill. And Jalen Waddle in and out of the lineup most of the year. And Darren Waller is your tight end. Somehow he's still designed, and Achane is a phenomenal player. But it ain't like Bijan that also has Drake London and Kyle Pitts that's out there doing their thing. Again, Tyreek not out there. And still, this guy, because you also had Achane out there, you know, catching 70 passes. So he had to be a big part of the offense, but you're able to design that and be able to run the ball while having Tua at quarterback that everybody knows is not good enough. And now he goes to L.A. where he's got Justin Herbert, but he's even going in conscious of what could be an easy trap to fall into of, well, let's run this play because Justin can make these incredible plays. Let's do this. Let's do that. And as he said, you can rely upon that too much of this guy's going to make an incredible play. We can scheme some things that any of our three quarterbacks can make those throws. God, that'd be awesome to see. We've seen that so often, though. And that's why I brought up with Matt Lane. Like, watching the Rams game against the Seahawks. And I'm watching and I'm going, I don't know the last time the Chiefs went up against a legit top-end defense, one of the top 5 defenses in the NFL, and the offense looked like that, where it was just open receiver, schemed this guy open. Like, wow, this offense is humming. And they got a break with the taunting penalty, which was a total legit penalty. Totally disagree with Sterling on that he thinks they shouldn't have thrown that flag. You're dumb.
Come on now, that's
Joking.
a penalty.
I know.
Do I want to make you cuss again?
No, I don't. Okay, I'm not on drugs today, so that's good. Antibiotic, but not drugs. But like that, watching that game, I watched remembering what it was like watching the Chiefs and Eagles in the second half of the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
In 2022, going, they just did anything they wanted. Open receivers, run the ball, Mahomes creating, easy passes, Mahomes creating, run the ball. Like, it was just whatever they wanted to do, it was there and available, and the Eagles had no answer for it. I mean, it was just it was so much fun to watch. That might be one of the last times we've ever seen that. Against a really good team, like a good defense. Like, again, last year, Matt Lane brought up, the Bills in the divisional round last year.
Sure.
Or AFC Championship game, sorry. Bills in the AFC Championship game last year, in how well Patrick Mahomes performed. And I agree, it was also, to be fair, and, for full transparency, it was a Bills defense that was more banged up. It wasn't that Eagles defense that they were going up against a couple of years ago in the Super Bowl. Not last year's Eagles defense, but the Eagles defense a couple of years ago in the Super Bowl that they won 38-35. It looked like that, but that wasn't the same Bills defense that they did what they did in the divisional round game in the 13-second game against the number one defense in the NFL, which was the Bills defense that year. So going up against a legit defense and not have it be so opponent-driven where the Chiefs are really, really good against their bad opponents and they struggle against the good defenses. Most teams will do that. But as Matt Lane pointed out, in 2022, when they went up against top 10 defenses, they were still one of the top offenses in the NFL. It was opponent independent on how good that offense was. And I think it's been since then, since we've watched something like the Rams against the Seahawks, where Mike McDonald and that defensive staff is going, what the bleep are we doing here? Why are we not able to guard this guy? Why is that guy college open? That guy's college open. We're going to blow this thing, and we're the better team here on the field.
Yeah. It goes back also to JSN, too. Because it's one of those situations where the ball's going to him, and you can't stop it. You still find ways to get him open. What was the play call? Was it the Seahawks? I'm trying to think who ran it. When they had the three guys on the left, the receivers, and I guess a tight end, they all ran right across the field. It was in the goal line, and then they had the running back go out of the backfield wide open because it's not a pick play, but it looks like one. And I was just thinking, we haven't seen that from the Chiefs in years. Just a play like that where a guy's wide open for a touchdown.
Was that Kyron? Did he catch
I can't remember if it was Kyron or if it was
Blake Corum.
Walker.
I think it was.
Was it Corum?
No, I think you're right. It was Kyron Williams.
I think it was Kyron that caught the. I'm trying to think of the running back that caught.
But it doesn't matter. The play call is what made you in.
Kenneth Walker had a pretty good day catching the ball too. It might have been. I don't know. Either way, but to my point, to your point, to everybody's point,
it can be done.
We've seen it.
It can be done.
Even with two deep safety, even with split safeties, shell coverage, even with that, there are offensive minds out there that have figured out that riddle.
Correct.
They have solved that Rubik's Cube.
Speaking of riddles,
putting two safeties up there.
Sports for leisure later. Speaking of riddles is what I was alluding to.
Well, let's take a break. We'll come back, wrap up this hour. More Zone next. We'll play some sports or leisure in the 1 o'clock hour, 913-338-10-810. Meant to get through this a little bit earlier, but, fun things happen along the way. So, we saw something yesterday that I think is a first, quite frankly, that we've ever seen in the NFL. And that is a player that is currently on a team under contract / quarterback, but even not a quarterback, but a player under contract, part of a team, calls his own press conference, runs it himself, press conference, Zoom press conference, whatever, outside of the PR staff of the franchise, of the organization, and does that to respond to what the coach said about him and injuries the day before.
Yeah.
We saw Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson get sideways. I don't know that this is going to be something that they get sideways on, but here is Sean Payton and then Bo Nix. This is all one clip. So it's Sean Payton after the game on Sunday, and then a clip from Sean Payton in his postseason press conference, or end-of-season press conference, and then what Bo Nix said in his Zoom press conference that he called with media members yesterday.
Over and we're all talking to him, and he knows that God's got a plan for him, and he said he had one in high school, and then he said he had one at Auburn, and I said I didn't realize that. I said if I'd have known that I wouldn't have drafted you. But he's a tough cookie.
A condition that was like predisposed right at that they always find a little bit more when they go in, and it wasn't a matter of if, it was a matter of when.
Nothing predisposed, nothing that was there originally. I might have gotten confused, but it's just a simple step with my foot up in the air. My body weight came down on it, and sort of got twisted up and got out of there pretty quick. I think that's the good part of being athletic. Sometimes your body gets out of worse situations. So could have been a worse landing, but I think all that force went into the only place it could, and was just one of those missteps. And didn't have any predisposed issues. Man, my ankles were feeling really good. I don't think he really should share how many surgeries I've had in the past, to be honest with you, but because I don't, he doesn't really even know that. But I think it's going to be good, to get back, get to work, start from ground zero, work from the bottom up, get back to training. And nothing really that concerns me, nothing that scares me going forward, like I'm, injury prone or anything. This is one of those just inconvenient football plays. And, I'm excited already to get back to work. And can't necessarily avoid anything in the future, but I feel really good that my body's going to be in good shape.
So after he was injured in that divisional round game, Sean Payton says, well, we just talked and, said that he had the same thing in high school and then college, and said, if I had known that, I wouldn't have drafted you. One, you're an idiot if you didn't know that. How do you not have the medicals on his ankle, if that is true? Which, from all indications, it seems like it's true that he's had multiple surgeries on an ankle. But he said, you're predisposed to something else. And when they go in there, they find other things. And Bo Nix calls a press conference, let's be honest, to say what he said there. There's nothing predisposed. I don't think he should share how many surgeries I've had in the past because he doesn't even know that. Also, he did say he didn't know that because he said, had I known that, I wouldn't have drafted you.
Yeah.
Joking or not, sometimes jokes are like 50% truth. Sean Payton seems like a real gem to work with.
You're into sports, but nothing wrong with a little leisure time. Why not both?
You're going to have a heart attack by the time you're 40 if you don't learn to relax.
It's time for sports or leisure on The Zone with Jason Anderson.
Welcome into Sports or Leisure right here on The Zone. Jason Anderson is sprinting in, papers in hand, and he's walking out now. I guess now he doesn't want to do Sports or Leisure. I guess it's just going to be Leisure today. Leisure or Leisure is this new segment. How you play Sports or Leisure?
How?
You call in.
How do you play?
913-3810.
I don't believe you.
810. Call in.
Colin.
You get a sports question and a leisure question. You get them both right. You win.
Call now.
And what do you win, Jason? You win a $25 gift card to Johnny's Tavern.
Premier sports bar in Kansas City, 10 locations.
You get either one wrong. What happens?
You lose.
But that question is still out there for someone to
call in
and potentially get
correct.
So, sports side, Jason.
What's that?
What do we have?
All right, on the sports side, we have a couple questions left over from the college football championship game. Somebody wants that. Because I looked them up last week, so I'm going to keep them around for another week.
Smart.
Thank you. We have 2 questions left in the general NFL category. We have a few questions in a new category, NFL Hall of Fame coaches.
Ooh.
Which does not include Bill Belichick, by the way, in case you're wondering. And based on Eric Bieniemy, this is the fun category that I think is going to be fun. We'll see if anybody else thinks it's fun or chooses it. Based on Eric Bieniemy being brought back as OC, Chris Berman nicknames, since that was Eric sleeping with Bieniemy. One of the best Berman nicknames ever.
Yeah.
So these are specific Kansas City players, Chiefs or Royals. They got Chris Berman nicknames, or just general.
Okay.
So there you go. Bermanisms, general NFL, Hall of Fame coaches, college football championship. And sleeping with Bieniemy.
We have riddles. We have name that movie.
Yay, name
movie
it.
quotes. I will give you a movie quote from a movie. You name it.
Okay.
And then
I can't do that.
And then we'll do who sings this. Name the singer, not the bands. We got music, movies, and riddles.
Music, movies, riddles. All right. I'm so excited. I need to get my Royals and Chiefs one in order for the Bermanisms. I'm ready to go. Sterling, you ready to play?
Yes, I've been ready.
Michael Darcia, you good to go?
I was trying to play the EB laugh. Yes, I am ready.
So you're
to go.
not ready to go. Okay, let's try it again. Michael Darcia, you ready to go today? Okay. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. I'm not sure. I don't know what that means, but we'll find out. 913-381-0810 to the phone lines we go. And waiting the longest is Greg, leading us off here on Sports or Leisure. Greg, what side do you want to start with? Sports side or the leisure side?
As the leadoff batter. So let's do something fun with Bourbonisms, huh?
Yes. Do you want some local ones, or do you want a national?
Whatever. I love the guy.
Okay. So this guy played with the Royals, and he was nicknamed. Now, sometimes these are the last thing. Sometimes it's the nickname that goes between the two names. This was between his first and last name. New Kids on the. He played for the Royals.
New Kids on the.
Yep.
Is it recent Royals?
It's between the two World Series.
Yeah.
Royals.
Between the two World Series.
Yeah. Well, New Kids on the. What would be the final part of that?
Block. No block. Chris Chuck Knobloch.
Chuck, New Kids on the Knobloch.
Nice. Thanks for the tip.
And the yips was the next hint, I think, would have been.
No, he never called him yips. Just Chuck.
No, he had the yips. If you needed to.
He did.
Chuck.
He couldn't sink a 2-foot putt to save his life.
Nope. Or throw to first, either one. So that was rough to be a second baseman. Chuck, New Kids on the Knobloch.
him on the green, though.
I could not. Sterling, you'd probably help him out there. I could throw to first. I just can't field the stuff. You know. Sterling, you're up. Leisure.
Who sings this? Name the singer, not the band. Name that movie. I will give you a movie quote. You name the movie or riddles.
We have the riddles, but let's go with something new with the singer. I like that.
All right, singer. Who sings this? That was pretty easy. Tom Sawyer.
Well, that's not my answer. Is Rush.
Correct. The band.
So, did the same guys sing all their songs?
It's not a trick question.
Not a trick question. What's his name?
He's also the bassist and the.
Did he? Sorry. Let's go with Geddy Lee.
It is Geddy Lee.
Yeah, look at that. Nice job.
Geddy Lee, the bassist, the keyboardist, and the singer.
I knew it was bass. I didn't know if he sang.
Yeah. Yep. Turns out he does. Greg, we'll put you on hold and get your information. Congratulations, sir. Well done.
Thanks, guys.
$25.
Only one dump button had to be pressed right there.
Right, so that's fine. It's only...
Kind of just sounded like he was, like, grunting a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean...
He goes, I'm stuck.
Oh.
Just my luck, I'm stuck.
Are we going back to Chuck?
Oh, look.
Knobloch?
Outside, there's a duck.
Oh, quit being out there and running amok. You know? All right, 913-3810810. Let's go to... Up next is Chuck.
Back-to-back Chucks?
No, that was Greg, but we were...
Oh, Chuck,
having rhyming words there. Chuck, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with?
Well, first off, don't play the name game with Chuck. It's bad news for radio.
That's true.
It's very dangerous. We're playing a very dangerous game.
Yes, exactly. It's the most dangerous game in radio. That's true.
Let's go with Chris Berman. I'll keep that going.
All right, great. You want a local one or a national one?
You pick.
Okay, you know what? I like this one. He was a receiver for the Chiefs, and between his first and last name, Chris Berman would say, "Battle of Little Big."
Oh, Joe Horn?
Joe Battle of Little Bighorn. Well done.
That's good.
Well done. Nice job. Over to leisure with Sterling.
Who sings this? Name that movie or riddles?
I'm a riddle guy, man. Let's do that.
Let's riddle it up.
Like when Chuck's on, he got the riddles.
Okay, that was actually done, I think, last week. That was the fence. I got to take that one away.
Yep, or property line.
Yeah. What do you buy to eat but never consume? And it's not the vegetables that you have rotting in the back of your fridge.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to say, yeah, there's a lot of things in the fridge.
The arugula that I thought I was going to eat, then I realized it tasted like dirt. No, it's not that.
The last 3 pieces of bread in the loaf of bread.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah, right. The 3 pieces. What do you buy to eat but never consume? Usually I get these right away. This one.
Yeah, I'm with you.
What do you buy to eat but never consume? I know this is riveting radio while I'm thinking this through.
No, I like it. That's the point.
We're all thinking. We're all thinking at the same time.
This is why it's riddles.
Everybody driving around is also thinking. What do you and listening at work or wherever they're doing?
What do you buy to eat but never consume?
So it's not something you actually eat. I'm talking about not going to be a food. So, like fork, knife.
Yes, correct. That's what I was thinking too.
Cutlery. Yeah,
I was thinking
fork and knife. Yeah,
I was thinking a fork, knife, spoon, whatever.
Spork. Actually, it was spork was the correct answer. But yeah, what do you buy to eat but never consume? Cutlery.
Spork was the right answer.
Cutlery.
We need more sporks in this world.
We do.
Why don't we have more sporks? I mean, come on,
Greatest
man.
invention.
Seriously. Chuck, we'll put you on hold and get your information. Congratulations, sir. Well done.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. 913-381-0810. I like that one. I was overthinking it because I'm like, well, I mean, you would eat with this.
Yeah.
You wouldn't eat You wouldn't buy that to eat. You would buy that to eat with.
No, you buy it to eat.
Yes.
But not
right.
you use
yes.
it.
I need it to eat. I mean, I can just use my hands. I don't need a fork or a spoon to eat. Like if I have a steak, I don't need the knife and the fork or anything. I can just pick that thing up and go to town. All right, let's go to Tim next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Tim, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with?
Let's see. The Birminghamisms would be sports, right?
Yes, sir.
And yeah, first two I like, but that means the next one will be a tough one. So let's go with the singers of the hit song.
Name the song, or name the singer of the song. Yeah, go ahead, Sterling, on the leisure.
Under the Bridge, Can't Stop, Californication.
Anthony Kiedis.
That is Anthony Kiedis, yes.
Nice job, well done. Over to the sports side, we have...
guy especially.
Yeah, there you go. We have general NFL, we have NFL Hall of Fame coaches, college football championship, and also the Birminghamisms.
I like the Hall of Fame coaches this week for obvious reasons.
Okay, let's do it. I like it. No, I appreciate it. So here...
Bad mouthing anyone.
No, you're good.
Right.
Here we go. When Andy Reid goes into the Hall of Fame, he will be the fourth coach to be inducted into the Hall that was at one point a head coach for the Chiefs. Name the other three.
All three?
There are three coaches in the Hall of Fame that at one point was a head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay. So I get three to get one question right.
That's right.
Doggone it. How about Birminghamisms? Anyway,
you got this, man. Come on. You'll get it.
I would think, of course, Vermeil?
Vermeil is one of them. That is correct. Yep. Vermeil's one of them.
Marty, right?
Marty's not in yet, so it's not Marty. I would say that...
he hasn't been out 5 years.
Yeah, Andy and... he's a semifinalist, Marty was, but Andy and this coach are the only ones to win a Super Bowl with the Chiefs.
Oh, they have to have won the Super Bowl.
No, they didn't have to have one. I'm just telling you that's a hint. That Hank Stram. And then one more coach that is in the Hall of Fame because of him being a coach with a completely different franchise. He coached the Chiefs.
Oh, but was he a head coach for us, or
no? He was a head coach. It's not.
It's not part. I'm thinking of.
I know you're thinking of. Yeah.
Steelers guy.
Yeah, it's not him.
Cowher.
So
it's not
Bill
Cowher because he was never a head coach.
Not for the Chiefs, but he is in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, way back earlier, like between the two Super Bowl eras. So, I can see him.
Is he in front of you?
Wait, he won a Super Bowl with the Chiefs?
Nope, he did not.
Oh, but he won. But he won one somewhere else. But he was our
not
head
necessarily.
coach.
He was
not
a head
Todd
coach.
Haley.
He's just in the Hall of Fame.
He's just in the Hall of Fame.
No.
It's not Todd Haley. I'll give you a hint.
No.
Levy, but Levy never won at Buffalo. So it couldn't be him.
Nobody said he ever won a Super Bowl.
Oh.
Just Hall of Fame coaches that were at one point a coach of the Chiefs.
Marv Levy.
Marv Levy is correct. There you go. Hank Stram, Marv Levy, Dick Vermeil, and eventually Andy Reid. Hopefully one day maybe Marty, but we'll see. That is a winner. We will put you on hold. Tim, get your information. Congratulations, sir. Well done.
Thank you.
Absolutely. See, if it was just two or one, it'd have been too easy, right? You needed all three, Marv Levy. And he's really in the Hall of Fame because of his,
Chiefs.
5 years with the Chiefs. Not necessarily with what he did with the Bills. I mean, did he do anything that special with the Bills? I don't think so. Didn't win a Super. He won as many Super Bowls with the Bills as he did the Chiefs.
Good call.
Not saying, I'm just saying. Let's go back to the phone lines, and we bring in Jerry next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jerry, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with?
I'll take sports, and I'll keep rolling on the Hall of Fame coaches.
All right, great. We'll kick off from that one to this one since the last name that he said. 20 coaches have been enshrined in the Hall of Fame since 1980. Only 3 of them were a head coach and never won a Super Bowl. Marv Levy being one. Can you tell me either of the other 2 head coaches that have been enshrined since 1980 that do not have a Super Bowl victory as a head coach? Now,
I was thinking George Allen back in the Washington.
I think he went in I think he was in like one of the early 1960s drafts.
How about Don Coryell?
Coryell, there you go. Nice job, Don Coryell. I wanted to be like, you actually coached in the Super Bowl era and had a chance to really win one or two, and do that. Yeah, Don Coryell and Bud Grant.
Oh, that was a tough one.
And Marv Levy.
That would have got me.
Yeah, my hit for Coryell was going to be he's in the news recently. Because with the Belichick thing, we're saying, the most recent coach to go in the Hall of Fame was Don Coryell in 2023. We didn't have one in 24, 25, and now we're not going to have one in 26 either. Don Coryell's the most recent one, and he didn't even win a Super Bowl. Bill Belichick got 8 of them as a coach, 6 of them as head coach. Over to Leisure with Sterling.
Who sings this? Name the singer, not the band. Name that movie, just movie quote. And then riddles.
I'm going to have to try to name that movie.
Name that movie. Nobody puts baby in a corner.
Oh man,
you know this one, don't you, Jason?
Oh yes, of course.
I feel like is that the most famous line?
I don't think I'm going to know that. Is it Boss Baby?
No. It's not an actual baby. It's like
Baby was her nickname.
Yeah, it was her nickname.
That's what her name in the movie.
This was a filthy movie, wasn't it? Filthy moving.
I know what the movie is, and it's way before my time.
Oh, look at that.
Wow, bragger. Way before my time. You olds over here.
Yeah, nice, Darcy.
You olds.
I just got called a boomer, I think, by Darcy.
Yeah. 1987 is way before my time. I mean, was that even in color? Was it black? Did they talk? Was it a talkie?
Oh, the dancing movie?
They do dance.
Dirty Dancing?
Yeah,
Dirty Dancing,
There was some Dirty Dancing in there.
That movie was filthy.
Yeah.
Yes,
Dirty Dancing.
Jennifer Grey, she was a baby. That's right.
No one puts baby in a corner.
Nobody puts baby in the corner at all.
Yeah.
We will put you on hold and get your information to talk with Michael, though. We'll do that.
Okay.
Congratulations. Well done. 913-381-0810. We take a timeout. We come back, continue rolling. If you're on hold, we get to you. One phone line open to play some sports or leisure. $25 to Johnny's Tavern is yours if you get a sports question and a leisure question right. We continue. More Zone next. He does. Whether you like it or not, Sterling, he does. Just saying.
Okay.
913-381-810 is the phone number. Playing some sports or leisure, $25 at Johnny's Tavern. We're giving away 10 area locations, including Lawrence and Topeka. The Lawrence location, where you hear the Hawk Talk with Bill Self and also Lance Leipold at that Johnny's Tavern. And was Case the other night? I think it was.
It was Jeremy Case.
Jeremy Case was the other night. That's right. When I first turned it on, driving to pitching with my son, and I'm tuning in, and he's talking, and the first 5 minutes of the conversation, I'm thinking he's talking to Jacques Vaughn. Like the whole time, I'm like, Jacques Vaughn. And then he was like, "You were down somewhere, and I was at Texas Tech, and we both dreamed about getting back here." And I'm like, "Well, that's not Jacques Vaughn. Who is he talking to?" Finally, Brian. 5 minutes you made me sit there and listen before I knew it was Jeremy Case. Gosh. No, Brian's awesome at doing that. And he's got to deal with Bill Self, so that's not easy to do. It's not easy to do.
I mean, well.
Bleep you, Brian, dumbass. Hate you. You were better at what you did. All right, 913-381-810 to the phone lines we go. Should we reset the categories? Let's do that, because I've got a few categories on the sports side. We have general NFL questions. We have one Hall of Fame, NFL Coaching Hall of Fame question left. A couple of college football championship questions. And we have Bermanisms in honor of Eric sleeping with Bieniemy returning to the Kansas City Chiefs. We have some local and also national Chris Berman nicknames for athletes. Leisure, Sterling.
We have Who Sings This? Name the singer, not the band.
Yeah.
We have Name That Movie. Movie quotes.
Yep.
Just famous movie quotes.
Yep.
And then we have Riddles.
Riddles. All right. We have up next T-Box. Next up here. Sports or leisure, T-Box. What side do you want to start with, brother?
How about in honor of Jeremy's playing time at KU, Jeremy Briefcase? I'll do a Bermanism.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
I like that. Good
Didn't
job.
even think of the college route, man. Do you want one of the local players, or would you want to go national?
Oh, either one.
Okay.
I'll
So,
try something.
you know what? T-Box, because I have faith, I think you can get this one.
Uh-oh.
This is a national one, okay? But it's one of the best
Okay.
ones. It's one of the best ones he ever did. So this is in between his first and last name, because there are some that he puts after the name. So this is in between the first and last name. He said, "Be home." Blank. Be home. Blank. He was a pitcher.
It's not be home soon.
Nope, he was a pitcher in Major League Baseball. I'll give you that hint.
Yeah. God, not Rick Russell. I remember.
Nope. It's an alliteration on his name with the same letter, first and last name, same letter.
Oh, yeah, I know who it is. It's Burt Be Home Blyleven. I remember.
That's right. Burt Be Home Blyleven. Nice job, brother.
Two curveballs, too. Two B's and two curves.
Yeah, that's right. Over to leisure with Sterling.
Give me a rock singer.
All right. No one got this one last week, so I can do it differently if you need help. But The Trooper, Fear of the Dark.
Oh, that's Bruce Dickinson.
Correct.
Nice job.
Yes, thank you. People apparently don't know Iron Maiden. I don't get it. Everyone's always like, give me some from the 80s. So I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. Here is one of my favorite 80s rock bands. And they're always like, no, don't know it. Like, how do you not know Iron Maiden? They kicked so much ass. So much ass was kicked by that band.
Really?
They are great. I've seen them multiple times. Snuck on the floor a few years back. My buddy was
Whoa.
a wimp and didn't follow me.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. And where was I, Mr. Box? Huh?
You're probably on the floor, too.
Oh, no, I got sneaking around.
Oh, yeah, well, probably because, I know. You probably get backstage.
No, come on now.
Yes, he does. He does. Don't let him fool you, T-Box. He's backstage, sitting up there and judging all of the commoners that are out there that paid for tickets.
No,
that's
not
what he's
anymore.
doing.
Used to.
That's what
Not
he's doing.
anymore.
He's just holding his mom's hand, walking to backstage.
Used to. Not anymore.
The concert was the babysitter for the Friday or Saturday night.
The concert, Def Leppard was my babysitter.
There you go. It's darn right. T-Box, we'll put you on hold to get your information. Congratulations, sir. Well done. See? Easy.
Jayhawk hockey rules.
There you go. How about that?
Boo.
Yeah.
M-I-Z.
I love that they schedule the fight at Advent Health sports park at Blue Hawk. And then around that, they play hockey.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool that they decide, what if we gave the fight fans a little hockey in between?
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Simple.
It's a good idea.
Get two birds stoned at once.
That's exactly right. It is the only sport where you can truly enjoy the rivalry, and you can just go out there and fight with no big deal. You're not kicked out of the game. You're not suspended. You just go sit over there 5 minutes. That's a major. Let's go to John next up on Sports Radio 810. John, sports or leisure? What side do you want to start with?
We'll go sports to the Bermanisms, the man that gave us one of the best rants ever on YouTube as well. So we'll go with that.
I mean, geez, what is your first day in TV? I mean, geez. Although that particular rant, got a point. Like, hey, we're doing this show and everybody's moving around back there. Can we just wait? Can we wait 5 minutes for you guys to do all this the jumping around and everything? We're trying to do a show here. There's a little bit. There's some truth in Berman's being upset at that particular time. Like, can we value what we're doing here on TV that's going out to the mass public here? Anyway, do you want a local one or a national one?
Let's do national.
All right, very good. Which one? Again, this is. This is going to be a middle name, okay? So this is between two names. All I've done is between two names so far. I haven't done any that are the end. But this is between two names. This was a football player. First name, Daylight Come and I Wanna. Last name.
Oh. Daylight. I'm thinking Jake. Yeah, Jake Del Home. Jake Daylight Come and you got to go. Got to Del Home.
Yep. Jake Daylight Come and I Want to Del Home. Nice job. Well done. See, there you go.
You did it much better than I did.
And you know what? I have it right in front of me, so it's not a big deal. But you got the player right. That's all that matters. You didn't have to get the exact,
phrase.
Right? It's all good. Over to leisure. You do have to get this one exactly right. He's a stickler.
Riddles. Who sings this or name that movie?
Let's do name that movie.
Name that movie. Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber, you go and do something like this and totally redeem yourself.
Well, that's a gimme, though. I feel bad. That's Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah,
it is.
Gimme. I still want to go to Aspen. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Pull over.
I totally redeemed myself.
Pull over. It's your card again. Thanks for noticing.
Tic-tac, sir. We'll put you on hold, John. Get your information. Congratulations, sir. Well done.
Thank you.
There you go. 9133810. The Be-Home Blylevin, the Burt Blylevin, always reminds me of back in the day when the news would say, it's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? That's the way that parenting used to be. Parenting was so laid back and hands off.
Oh, yeah.
That the news had to start and remind you, hey, check to see if your kids are home. It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your kids are? Shoot, that's right. I need to see where my kids are. Where are my kids? Are they here?
They
outside?
Could be gone. They could
no
be...
idea. It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your kids are? Be home by 11. If the answer was no, then you should go check them out. Let's go to Cajun next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Cajun, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with?
I mean, y'all couldn't say the DeLome one for me, huh?
Oh, you're right. You know what? I should have.
All right. Leisure.
All right, we have Who Sings This, we have Name That Movie, and we have Riddles.
Who sings this? I like that one.
Nutshell, Man in the Box.
Oh. Start over, please. You lost me at Nutshell. What?
Who sings this? Nutshell, Man in the Box.
Oh, Man in the Box. Oh, I know that, man. I got it. It's on my freaking list. Oh. Pumps and Chains.
But who sings it?
What did you say?
We need the actual.
Alice in Chains?
Need the actual
singer.
It is Alice in Chains, but who's the singer?
Who's the specific singer?
Oh, the singer. Oh, crap. Yeah.
Oh, crap. That's actually what you're looking for. It's first name.
Crap.
First name. Oh, Mr. Crap. He goes by that too. That's his father, really. But
I don't know. No, I'm blanking.
I
love the song. I just don't know the guy's name.
The guy's last name is the same as a famous running back for the Saints.
Really?
Alistair.
No.
That's
Hilliard.
that's funny.
Devin Neal sings this song?
Nice job.
No, you know what? He would have.
Kamara?
No.
No, man, I give up.
More Eagles. I'd say Eagles.
Okay.
Y'all move along. Have a good one.
I don't know why I thought he played.
Cajun,
I thought
you're the
he
man.
finished.
Appreciate you.
I don't
brother.
want to waste time.
Are you
Okay.
sure? You sure? It's Eagles.
Sure.
Eagles running back and apparently Saints too.
Not Saints. He
never
never.
mind.
It was. He finished with the Steelers. I thought he played for like a year or two with the Saints. He did not. It was Eagles.
Staley?
I'm gonna just keep listening till you guys hang up because I'm curious now.
All right. Thank you, Cajun. Appreciate it. You're saying maybe that guy could be the next running backs coach for the Chiefs.
Could be.
Is what you're saying.
Could be.
Okay. Let's go to Ryan next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Ryan, Sports or Leisure, what side do you want to start with?
Well, guys, actually, I pronounce it Rye.
They just tased Ryan.
They just tased Ryan.
Ryan, you want to go Sports or Leisure? Ryan, somebody get Justin. Where's Justin at? Here we go.
Well, first of all, I'll take that Lane question.
Yeah, good job. Lane Staley.
Deuce Staley, the projected next running backs coach for the Chiefs.
I don't know why. I thought he played like a year or two with the Saints. No, it was just.
You were thinking Deuce McAllister, probably.
I was thinking McAllister too,
Yeah.
but no, Lane Staley.
Yeah.
Man, great pipes.
Yes, that's what I've heard. By the way, as a younger child, I thought it was Allison Chains. Like it's just, not Alice in, just Allison.
Yeah,
Her name's
Allison.
Alice. Mrs. Allison Chains.
Mrs.
Chains, we call her. Over to the sports side, we've got general NFL, one Hall of Fame coaching question left, college football championship, and Birmanism.
I will do Birmanisms.
All right, you want a local one or a national one?
Yeah, we can do local.
All right. I want to do one that's actually either a first part or a last part. All right, here we go. His first name, last name, and then the Barbarian. Royals player. First name, last name, the Barbarian.
Conan.
Jeff Conine? Jeff Conine the Barbarian. Nice job. Well done. Jeff Conine the Barbarian. We will put you on hold. Ryan, they just tased Ryan. Just tased Ryan. We'll put you on hold and get your information. You can talk to Michael. Thank you, sir. Well done.
All right. Thanks, guys. I love Lebo.
I love Lebo too.
Right. I just love that. I love that Ryan said,
Wow.
actually, my name's pronounced Ryan. They just tased Ryan.
I just love that Lebo got some love.
Get Justin. Go get Justin. Go and get. Fella, we need to stop all this. Somebody's going to get really hurt. They just tased Ryan. This ball game is over.
Middle school basketball gets heated.
I'm telling you, man, middle school basketball, if you're not there, if you're in it to win it, okay? You don't mess around. All right, you're not taking any prisoners or bleed from anybody. Jeff, next up. Sports or Leisure, Jeff, what side do you want to start with, man?
Actually, it's Hefe.
I am heavy. Sports or Leisure, brother?
I'll take Leisure. God, Sterling, go easy on me. Riddles.
Riddles.
Go easy on Riddles.
Okay.
Wow, okay.
I got one, I think. The more you take, the more you leave behind. What am I? The more you take, the more you leave behind. What am I?
Wouldn't be time, maybe.
The more you take, the more you leave behind.
Especially in certain weather. Pretty good hint right there.
Oh, so this would be something that maybe you're just relocating?
Could be.
In certain weather?
I think I got it.
No.
What did he say? Sorry, I didn't hear him. My bad. I was talking.
Is that right?
Snow? He said snow?
No, the more you take, the more you leave behind, but it is way more noticeable when it snows.
Oh, my brother got it right. Bottom. Is that right?
No, but
that's
hilarious.
amazing, right?
Yeah.
I thought it was. I'm like, that's it.
Honestly,
that's right.
I would count that. That's not
because now you're saying, especially in the snow, you'll notice it.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, it's very. Woo, that's a bold. That is not the way I thought the question was going to go. But that's a
anyway,
version, I guess.
But anyway, Jeff, that's also an answer we will accept if you are somehow friends with my brother. I don't know if somehow we texted you too.
Bullcrap?
Well, I mean, it's not bullcrap. No.
No.
I don't know the answer to this one. I really don't.
The more you take, the more you leave behind, and I think it's even more noticeable when it snows.
I don't know. I'm out. You want to throw a dart, Jeff? I can't help you on this one, Hefe.
Hefe is stumped.
Stumped. I'm with you, man. Jeff, thank you for playing, man. I appreciate it. We're stumped as well. We'll see if somebody else knows that. We'll find out. That question is out there. Nate, next up on Sports Radio 810. Sports or Leisure? Nate, what side do you want to start with?
Can I take that riddle question?
Oh, yeah, you can.
My brother texted me the actual answer. I like it, and it's right. Yep. But go ahead.
I will guess it's footsteps is the answer you're looking for.
Footsteps. Yes,
That's
correct. The more you take, the more you leave
I
behind.
think I know the answer your brother texted in, too. But
What was that one?
What was that one you thought?
Crap.
He said a laxative, yes.
Laxative would have also been acceptable.
Because you see it more in the snow if you've taken a lot of that.
I thought footsteps was.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Could you argue like photos? The more you take, the more you leave behind?
I guess.
Is it true that the love you make is equal to the love you take?
Is it true if you don't use it?
You lose it? That is.
That's a serious question.
No, that's not right. Over to the sports side, we have in general NFL, we have one Hall of Fame coach's question left, college football championship, and some Bermanisms.
Let's do general NFL, please.
Okay, general NFL for you. Let's see. Drake May has 15 wins this year as a starting quarterback, regular season, postseason, all of that. It matches the most wins by a quarterback in a season by a quarterback in their first 2 years starting. So most wins in a season with a quarterback's first 2 years as a starter, or first 2 years in the NFL, I should say. There are three other quarterbacks who won 15 or more games in a season in their first 2 years in the NFL. Name any, and I'll give you a hint that Mahomes wasn't one of them.
Yeah. Would have been if he wouldn't have started this for two.
Yeah.
Okay.
So all three of these quarterbacks pretty much burst onto the scene.
Yeah.
Two of them won a Super Bowl pretty quickly. One of them got there pretty quickly. I'd ask if Mike knows, but he's got the questions in front of him. I'd ask if Sterling knows, but he's texting somebody on his phone, so he didn't even hear the question.
What was the question?
Nope. Knew that was going to happen. I can tell when Sterling is zoned out.
I was like,
when we're all zoned in.
Yeah.
I asked the question. I look over, and he's clearly doing something. Maybe he's looking up other questions. I don't know.
Well, I need to. I'm down to one riddle. No, it's called the zone.
Montana, one of them.
It was not Joe Montana, but you're sort of just thinking out loud, right? You want to throw another dart real quick?
Marino.
Marino's one of them. That's right, Marino. Marino, the first one to do it. The other two, Sterling, you got any guesses here? Drake made 15 wins this year in his first 2 years as a player, as a quarterback. There are three other quarterbacks who won 15 or more games in a season in their first 2 years in the NFL. Name any. Mahomes not one of them. He said Marino. There are two others.
One guy played baseball.
One guy did play baseball and played at two different colleges.
Russell Wilson.
Another guy was a grocery bagger.
Russell Wilson.
I could have used those.
Russell Wilson. Another guy bagged groceries before he was an NFL MVP.
Evan Gaddis.
Kurt Warner. Close.
Evan Gaddis.
Nice,
remember him?
Nice pull.
I remember who it is.
Baseball.
It's a crazy pull.
Nice pull. That is a winner, though. And Nate pulled $25 to Johnny's Tavern. Well done. We'll put you on hold. Get your information. Congratulations, sir. Look at that. Just that easy. We have a couple more contestants left. that we will, you know what, Mike, let's go ahead and take those contestants now instead of making them hold through the break. So we will do that now. Let's go to, if you're on hold right now, we will get to you to play. Matt, next up on Sports Radio 810. Sports or Leisure, Matt, what side do you want to start with?
Let's start Leisure, please.
All right, we have one more riddle. We have one more Who Sings This, and then we have Name That Movie.
Oh, wow. Running out.
Name that movie.
Name that movie. Here's looking at you, kid.
Is that Gone with the Wind?
No, it's close. I'll give you one more guess because it's around the same time frame. 3 years after Gone with the Wind, I believe.
Getting those confused.
I think this is also the same movie that you go, you might not regret it now, but for the rest of your life.
Oh, okay. Get it. Casablanca.
Yeah, Casablanca. Yeah.
Nice shot. Okay. There we go. Casablanca.
I could picture it. I could see it in my head.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's go sports side. We got NFL, Hall of Fame coaches, college football championship, and Bermanisms.
What is Bermanisms again?
So Bermanisms are in honor of Eric sleeping with Bieniemy returning. We have Chris Berman nicknames. We have national, and we have those that played for the Chiefs and Royals, local ones.
Let's give it a whirl.
All right. You want a local one or you want a national one?
Let's try to keep it local, I guess.
Very good. Very good. This was between his first and last name. Played baseball for the Royals. First name, Live and Let.
Yeah.
How about Jermaine Die?
Jermaine Live and Let Die. Nice job. I wanted to get to that one.
Yeah,
you know,
I like that
it's
one.
kind
It's
of
a
one
fun
of the
one.
easier ones, but I wanted to get to that one. Shane, or excuse me, Matt, will put you on hold, get your information. Congratulations, sir.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. Which brings us to our final contestant. You'll never guess his name, Sterling.
Mike.
Shane. You're so stupid. You didn't even see that coming at all, man. Shane, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with?
Sports. Let's do Birmingham.
All right, local or national?
I better keep it local.
All right. All right, this is going to be right up the alley of Sterling in terms of combining leisure and sports. This player is still a part of the Chiefs organization. First name, nickname Beast of. Last name.
Wow.
Beast of.
Wait.
Oh.
A Chiefs player?
Oh, is it J.J. Beast of Burden?
Nice job.
There we go.
J.J. Beast of Burden, Rolling Stones.
I was thinking
right up your alley.
I was thinking Luther. That's why I was like
No.
Luther Burden.
J.J. Beast of Burden.
Not a Chief.
Yeah, still with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Over to leisure with Sterling.
Riddles, Who Sings This, or Name That Movie.
Name that movie, please.
You Can't Handle the Truth.
These are layups, man.
Oh, yeah. That's, oh, my gosh. It is a layup. You're right. And I could think of Jack Nicholson said it to Tom
Yes,
Cruise, and it's...
You want answers? I think I'm entitled to them. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Oh, no.
We live in a world that's guarded by walls of men with guns. Who's going to do it? You? You, Lieutenant Weinberg?
Oh, yeah, I got it. Oh, gosh. It's A Few Good Men.
A few
Well
of them.
done, Shane.
They're not
Nice
all
job.
good men. There's
Nice
just a
job.
few of them.
Well done. We'll put you on hold and get your
Oh.
information. Congratulations, sir. Who's going to do it? You, Lieutenant Weinberg. I have a greater responsibility than you could possibly fathom. You. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcia, heading up until 2 more minutes. Then we'll hand it off to the program. I will say this, though.
At the end of the day?
Well, at the end of this show. When it's all said and done. Appointment radio, I think. I said it yesterday that, hey, with the whole Belichick thing, that, Sando will be on with Seren on Thursday, and I'll be looking forward to that. They have good conversations, and Sando, has his opinions on, that, and I know Seren's probably disagreeing with that. And they are two individuals.
Doesn't sound like him.
But they're two individuals that have a lot of respect for each other, so you can really get some back and forth going and legitimately offer back and forth without the other guy going, well, you just don't know ball. Well, if you agree with that, then you don't know ball, which is absurd. So I have I'm looking forward to it. Maybe it'll be, oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, cool, let's move on. I think it'll be appointment radio.
I hope Petro drops you don't know ball.
I hope not. He's not going to do that. Out of all the, you're not going to do that to Mike Sando.
I'm going to say after the show, when he walks in here, be like, hey, I got a challenge for you. When you give the players during training camp saying to throw in there.
Right.
It's going to be Petro, you don't know ball.
Yeah. Petro, when you talk to Sando later, if you disagree on something, you have to tell Mike Sando, you know what, Mike, I'm done with this conversation. You don't know ball if you believe that.
I think it'd go well.
Oh, God.
What's the worst that happens?
He's viewed as a child, but he's not. So, no, I don't think that's going to happen. But it is appointment radio.
I would laugh, though.
Oh, I would absolutely laugh. Yes.
Chortle even.